We got video and audio confirmed, and it begins in 3, 2, 1.
Intruders! Sound the alarm! Isn't that the line?
Hey everybody, welcome back to Core. This is Core for Monday, July 31st, 2023. Yeah, that's right. We're recording on a Monday. I was out of town. I was at a family reunion, and we couldn't record on Thursday. Also, we kind of were thinking John was going to be out of town too, but then that changed. Long and the short of it is you're getting 2 Cores this week. You're getting one today, and you're getting one Thursday. All right? Be ready for that. Be open to it, okay? Because it's new. It's a new feeling you're going to have when you have that much Core laid at your doorstep. But we're happy to be back and talking to you guys. I wanted to mention real quick that I took the Ambernick on this little trip. The little portable little gaming unit there. And now everybody in my extended and immediate and close family wants an Ambernick device. They all want one. And they're gonna have to
hell yeah.
They're gonna have to get them on their own because I ain't buying them all for those. But they all thought, what? How many games are on there? What? I can't believe it. Does it have this game? Yes, it does. No way. I played that when I was a kid. I want to play that again. There's this whole kind of mini freak out over what is possible in 2023 when it comes to retro games, and they were all flipping out. Also, I think when I handed it off to somebody and they played with it a little bit and gave it back to me, and I was going to bring it down. But if I shake it, I can hear a little tiny piece of something rattling around in there.
Oh, man.
I know.
You know what, Scott? This is why you're a better person than me.
Well, what would you do?
Also why I'm a more correct person.
Okay.
I don't share with people.
Yeah, I know.
And people go, well, John, you're just such a curmudgeon. Like, share your stuff. Like, it's the nice thing to do. Let people touch your things.
Yeah.
No. Because now you have a rattly Ambernick.
Yep.
That's what you got for sharing your stuff to the world. I learned this lesson very early. Anytime I gave something to anybody, it came back broken or didn't come back at all.
Hey.
And I learned that lesson very quickly. Like, turns out if you care about your stuff, don't give it to other people for any period of time.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
I just noticed I see a Shockwave toy on your desk.
What?
Can I borrow it?
Where is it?
No.
Can you mail it to me for a few weeks
Right there,
so I can play with
Oh,
it?
yeah. You talked about this. That's awesome.
Show and tell. Show and tell. It's a
Show it again. We
Transformer.
talked about this last time. Look
Got a
at
little
this.
shockwave here.
Yeah, put them together. Let's see him do his thing.
Let's see.
Does he turn into a...
Doing his thing.
Wait.
Is that? I don't think he's a transformer.
Oh, he
one.
doesn't
Sometimes
transform, does he? Because he's Shockwave. Shockwave doesn't transform.
He turns into a ship.
Oh.
Let me see if I can do it. This one isn't an instant transform. Now I gotta actually remember some.
Oh,
damn
this is a
steps.
normal... This is old school.
Yeah. this
Okay.
is some-
All right. His legs turn in, kind of like mine do.
His legs turn in. This
Yeah.
turns up here, I think.
Yeah.
Like this.
For listeners at home, John is very
That-
dutifully putting this together.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. These little wings come out. He does that. Then, like all good Transformers, I think he just sort of put his hands up.
Yeah.
Up. Yeah, just do that.
Yeah.
And then these fold down.
Yeah.
Maybe like that. Sure, that makes sense.
Sure. Yep.
His chest comes down.
So much quicker in the cartoons, but it's it's fine. It's
I don't know what
Yeah,
you.
do we need to check in
There.
with you in a little bit?
He's basically a ship.
Oh, okay, like a little speeder.
He's close enough. He's close enough.
Oh, he's got the gun appearance though. Yeah,
Does he?
interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
Kind of, but yeah.
Nicely done. Yeah, don't give that to Bo. It'll come back
we're
broke.
We're gonna call it good enough. It's
Yeah.
good enough of a
But-
ship.
Yep.
Can I borrow it?
He's a GoBot.
Can you mail it to me for a few weeks?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It bugs me when my son gets it, and he's the one who I made the excuse that I got it for. But he lives in my room. This is my
I
ship.
bet you has your son have Sylvanas privileges yet?
No,
Whoa.
he can't reach her.
Yeah.
He's actually really good about the stuff back there. He won't touch that stuff. But
Yeah.
it's like, to him, I made it clear that stuff couldn't be touched, which in his mind means everything else can.
Right.
So he comes in and it's like, okay, well, I won't touch that stuff. But anything on your desk is now fair game.
All right, theater of the mind for those listening only. John's got figure prints, Boba Fett helmet. There's Genji. There's other Boba Fett helmets, some Star Wars shit.
Tracer. There's
Yeah,
Laura Kinney Wolverine. There's Johanna.
nerd stuff. We have nerd stuff. Back
There's some nerd stuff in the back.
Yeah. Well, it's good he can't reach it yet. Anyway, it was a fun time, and if they all want to get Amber Nicks, I told them all where to go. And,
so did you lend yours out to people?
I let people just mess with it for a minute and decide if it was cool or not. But then when this thing
Now it
started rattling,
rattles.
I realized, I think I know what it is, because it's not, none of the buttons are bad. Everything's fine. I think it's like inside, you have a little molding plastic that was maybe just hanging on by a nothing and then shook loose. I think that's all it is. It sounds like plastic. So I think I'm going to open it. It only has like 4 screws. It's easy. I'm going to open it, just see what's in there, see what's rattling around, think long and hard about John's policy, try to decide if that should be.
It's an adorable little piece because people are more and more habituated to handhelds just because of phones and stuff.
Yeah.
I find people who aren't even interested in gaming per se just like the cute little shape and design.
Yeah, they
Game
love
Boy's
it.
a classic.
They're like, that is so old school. That's so rad. Oh my gosh, that screen's big and bright. And, they're just losing it. And rightly so. But I just was like, oh, what is rattling in here now? I was really annoyed by that. But it's all good now, everybody.
That didn't fall into the lake.
Yeah, no, it did not. I didn't take it on the boat. So we spared ourselves that trouble. But it's good to be back. It's good to be talking video games again. And we're going to do that now.
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
Let's talk about our top topic. Final Fantasy 14 Fan Fest happened. This is the thing John was going to go to, but medical reasons would have other ideas. You basically
got an ear infection.
Yeah, like a bad one. Like so bad the doctor couldn't see in his ear. That's how bad. We learned this in the pre-show.
So bad they couldn't fully diagnose it because they couldn't even check it.
That's right. So you missed out on that, which is unfortunate. It sounds like our good pals over there at Grinding Gears had a great time. Everybody seemed to enjoy the event. And there was some things talked about, including a new expansion. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Phil Spencer appearance, which I did not see coming. I don't think anyone did, given the recent conversations people have been having about Final Fantasy and Sony. So we'll get to that in a second. But let's start with this new expansion. It's called Dawn Trail.
Dawn Trail.
Yep, that's my accountant's name. Dawn Trail is his name. And he's a great guy. No, it's called Dawn Trail, which I don't know do we know the meaning here of the Dawn Trail yet? Is it supposed to make sense?
I don't think so. If it doesn't make sense to me. But tonally, it's interesting. So we've had a series of trailers. If you go through and watch all the cinematics, it gets progressively darker and darker and more edgy as it goes along as this story has built. And Endwalker wrapped up the story, and so this teaser trailer for Dawn Trail is really lighthearted. You got the main character smiling, which is a rare occurrence, didn't happen very often.
Yeah.
And they're kind of billing it as the greatest summer vacation adventure a hero can go on. So the tone is extremely light compared to the things that they've been doing. And I am 100% here for that sort of concept. Given what all we've done. Yeah. Given everything that's been going on, this seems like, chat just said it, the beach episode. For your anime, there's the episode where they go to the beach, and seems like maybe this is the expansion where they go to the beach.
Yeah.
That's not to say you're not going to fight stuff. There's not going to be intrigue. Who knows what's going to happen? But it definitely seems a bit more lighthearted and new in tone, and kind of getting back to that adventure and discovery. You're going to a new continent that has not been explored by anybody that you've been around before, so it's kind of getting back to that new discovery sort of bit of business.
And a bunch of characters I recognize. That little Lalafell Jr. guy that's always in things. The guy who's a dragoon face I've seen before. He's there. So I guess people who survived or whatever. I'm not saying a bunch of people died. I don't actually know, but people from the previous expansions in the game itself are all moving on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's your minor spoilers. Not everybody died.
Yeah.
At the end of the last expansion, not everybody died.
Nice.
So, this is it's going to be interesting, and I kind of dig the lighthearted tone and look forward to what they're going to do with it.
Yeah.
This was just the teaser trailer, so it's not the full thing. They have a kind of a history of doing this where the first reveal, it's usually not the exact music that's going to play for the final one. They cut things out because there's stuff they don't want to announce just yet. In fact, there's been a funny still image going around where they have clearly edited out the main character's weapon, that he would have his hand resting on the pommel of something, and they have just removed it from the video, so his hand is just sort of hover handing in a very awkward pose during the trailer.
Does that imply like a famous weapon making its way in there, or some sort of big story point that everybody would freak out if they knew? Or what do you think
that gets to our next thing, which is Yoshi P did tease that there are going to be 2 new jobs added in this expansion, and he said he was not going to reveal what they are. He said they are 2 DPS jobs, 1 magic ranged and 1 melee, and he said he would not reveal it. And then he took off his jacket and he had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirt under it. Now this is a long-standing history with Yoshi P teasing what the new jobs are. Sometimes it is extremely obvious. When Reaper was the new job, he wore a shirt that had the Grim Reaper on it. Pretty on the nose, not hard to figure out. However, on the other end of that spectrum, one time he had a Spider-Man shirt on. And the Spider-Man was because the first Spider-Man movie was directed by Sam Raimi, and Sam Raimi sounds sort of like Samurai.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding?
So there are levels of difficulty to the shirt reveal.
So the new job is a cheese shredder?
Well, everybody is trying to figure out what the new job is going to be based on this Ninja Turtle shirt reveal. Ninja's already in the game.
Yeah, Ninja's already in there. This is also this is for the new movie version of TMNT, by the way, the Mutant Mayhem thing. I don't know if that has any bearing on it, but that, at least notable.
So maybe it's trying to guess now. You're a turtle.
Maybe you're a rat.
Here are the popular theories that I have heard. I have heard, because the main character, nobody's really sure what job he's representing in that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think he looks very piratey. Corsair is a job that was in Final Fantasy XI. A lot of people think that it is pirate themed, and the connection to the Ninja Turtles is that old meme, pirates versus ninjas.
Okay.
So that's one theory. Another theory is Pictomancer, which has been in Final Fantasy before, basically kind of an art mage of some kind. That is because all the Ninja Turtles are named after famous artists.
Oh, that's an interesting theory. I kind of like that.
Some people think it is a time mage or an earth mage, are 2 popular theories as well for various reasons. Time Mage, I guessed Time Mage because I was like, I don't know, TM is the first letters of TMNT. Yeah. Time Mage. Yeah. Nailed it.
Not bad.
What if it's a mutant? What if you just play a Fallout mutant?
Could be. Cool. My new job is I am a mutant. I went and I became a mutant.
It wouldn't fit with the aesthetic of the FF16 though. Nobody's like horribly disfigured. You can't play a disfigured character.
In 14? Yeah. No, I don't think so.
I mean, in any MMO really. But,
yeah, that's true.
Well, no, WoW, you can play Forsaken. They're pretty disfigured.
But even the Forsaken, they edit them for certain cultures, and when it was in China, they had to cut out the bones and all that. I kind of like all those theories. I kind of want to. I didn't know this is a thing. I didn't know this was like a thing he did. So yeah. I'm sort of interested in it. Pirate fits
really
to me.
It's fun. Like, it's kind of cool. We're used to the
what about Plumber
reveals where they tell you literally everything?
Yeah.
Plumber, John. Plumber. They hang out in the sewers. They skateboard in the sewers.
Maybe you got to have a job.
Could be.
Someone's got to clean it.
Someone somewhere. The pirate
is the ultimate.
I'm telling you, pirate makes the most sense because pirate would be good for this tropical destination they're all headed to.
Yeah,
a lot of people are thinking Corsair. Yeah. I really hope so because that is a job I will jump on.
You'd love a nice lady pirate.
100% play a Corsair.
Yeah,
will not even hesitate. That will be as a Jedi that played with a lightsaber and a blaster. I will be there.
But will you be
pirate, not Corsair, though?
Well, maybe they'll call it a pirate. But what if you started? Would you start a new Corsair? Or would you just switch jobs on a character you already have? What would
you just add it? Like that's the cool thing about Final Fantasy. When they add a new job, you just go, all right, well, I'll just go get the job. Like you just take your character over there, you do the quest, you have the job.
Quit trying to get me to want to play that game. Stop doing that.
You don't have to re-roll a new character. You just go pick up the job. And then you just equip the weapon, and then you're that job.
Well, we'll find out soon. The way the timing works on this is the 2 jobs will be added at the expansion, obviously, but later this year, the free trial that they currently have will now include up to the Stormblood expansion. Is that just shy of Endwalker? Is that the one right before that?
No, so it's Stormblood is just before. Why can't I think of it? I'll just look at the poster. Shadowbringers. It's the one before Shadowbringers.
Okay. 6.5 is the patch this year that will include that. So I guess if you're a new player, you can get excited about more content. So
basically, if you're going off the free trial version, you got to update your memes. The meme needs to be fixed. Everybody's meme is now out of date. You get access to a Realm Reborn, Heaven's Ward, and now Stormblood as well.
All right,
so
nice.
You get the first 3 expansions, the base game and the first 2 expansions.
And you're liking this let's go on vacation vibe, right? You like that.
I really am. Like, that was the thing is like the story has been incredible. I'm really happy that they finished it. And I like this idea of let's just take our time to find what we want the new story to be, which is what they said. Somebody said like, well, how long do you think this story is going to run for? And they said, we don't know. We're going to tell a story that has hooks for like, it's almost like a good DM, right? Like you tell a story, you leave hooks, you see what people are interested in. And then you go, okay, they dug that. We're going to follow those hooks and continue that forward. So right now we're just kind of in that testing phase to see where the story is going to go from here. And, I think that's kind of cool. I think that's a neat way to do it.
Yeah. There's some dark stuff in there in the trailer. Or the teaser rather. There's a guy in whoever that is on the ship. He's got the loose like sandbag material cloak on, and he fights some kind of fiery thing, and he catches on fire and does not seem bothered by it at all.
No, that's you. That's your stand-in.
Is that my guy? Is that who I am? Okay.
Yeah,
like you're everyman. Like right. They make him look like generic handsome.
Yeah, but, I was gonna say I saw him, and so is that really what they're doing? They're trying to say, hey, this is you.
Yeah. That's like the. You know how like what are they?
It's weird.
Like Commander Shepard, like. Can look like anything, right? But in the trailers, Commander Shepard looks like
Shepard, yeah,
the dude, like that we know. So it's the same deal here.
Okay,
he's Shepard.
I guess that never clicked with me. I always just thought. In fact,
it's not very obvious. Someone had to explain it to me too in the last one.
When I was playing it, I would see that dude for upcoming expansion stuff. That face, he looks a lot like Clive, by the way.
Does look similar to Clive.
I would see him and go, "When am I going to meet that guy?" I didn't realize it was supposed to be my stand-in.
If you want a mild spoiler,
yeah,
we're already talking about. You meet him.
Oh, what shit!
Yeah, even though it's you.
Whoa.
Kind of in the game.
That helps make things clearer, I think, for the story. Probably.
It's like when Cassandra meets her brother. Ooh, well, that's not quite the same. That was a guy you could have chosen him, Ben, if you wanted to in that Assassin's Creed game. Anyway, there you go. That's what we know about that. There was some other stuff. Phil Spencer showed up. You know him as head of Xbox.
In the most awkward moment of the presentation, Phil Spencer did show up.
Yeah.
Was he wearing a Heroes shirt?
I didn't know. I forgot to check.
I don't think so. I have an image here.
Next appearance. That would probably not go over well with the Final Fantasy crap.
I can't tell what he's wearing. He's got a jacket on, like he always has on stage. I can't tell what he's wearing underneath, but
all right, he's playing his cards close to his chest.
Yeah, and he's hinting of future collaborations, but also announced that the Final Fantasy XIV client will be coming early next year to Xbox systems, so Series SX and I assume desktop. I don't actually know that. It's already on desktops. I don't know why you'd do that. I guess Steam does it, so why wouldn't they do something with
on the
client?
Xbox Live? You can get it from their
probably
their garden.
Probably.
Square Enix has said that anytime they can bring something to Xbox, it's their plan to. which is a very vague statement, and also maybe implies that there are some exclusivity deals still in the works. But they said, yeah, anytime we can bring it to Xbox, we will.
Yeah.
And that
It's
makes
like
it
the
sound
same-
like there's a lot of rules they got to
That's the
follow.
same for all games. If we can bring it to a platform, then we'll do it.
We'll do it. Yeah.
Maybe
Turns out
maybe
weird.
Microsoft had to promise that they could finally realize their NFT dreams over there at Microsoft. You know, they were like, hey,
Yeah,
I hope
maybe.
not.
yeah, who knows?
No,
Anyway.
it's a cool announcement. It went over a little bit awkward at the show, but it kind of makes sense that it would. You have a group of people that all play the game. It's not like anybody was going to be there going, oh my God, I came to FanFest hoping I'd find out one day I could play
Yeah.
this video game.
Mm.
So it's a cool announcement, but the crowd that was there was like, okay. Like they
Well,
and Phil also had, when you watch the opening ceremonies, there is just a different energy between like how they present things and how they talk to the audience. And then Phil comes out and he's in full E3 mode. And I like Phil and I think he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
But he stood out like a sore thumb as a result, because you've got all these people just chatting and having a good time. And then Phil comes out and he's like, Microsoft today is so excited, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, he likes to say,
really put
"Here-
on the
here
E3
at Xbox."
energy.
Yeah.
he also says here at Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here at
Here
Xbox,
at Xbox,
we know
yeah.
gamers are we know they're the lifeblood of the Xbox family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's not really. My feeling is that's not even BlizzCon talk. That's like, I guess it kind of was. Whenever Morhaime had come out, he kind of sounded like that. It's all very prepared and whatever.
Yeah, but he had his own charisma about it, like a timid nerdiness. Phil he's got Riz.
I have on good authority that Morhaime barfed like 3 times before he ever got on stage every year.
I believe it. I believe it. He did that never, to me, never looked comfortable. I mean, comfortable in the sense that he'd done it. It was, it's not like it was his first time, but yeah, like a lot of the Blizzard guys looked
He
like
didn't look in his element.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I don't think that was his
He
favorite
did a
part.
fine job, but he didn't look in his element.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Phil's a what do they call him? A Toastmaster. He's like Crofton. He's like too much in his element. Likes it too good at it.
Yeah, he is very good at it. Phil Spencer. I really liked listening to him during those hearings. I thought we got to see a little bit of a edgier side. Not edgier. I don't know how to put it.
Sassier, maybe.
A little sassier, a little bit more like, hey, we got to get business done kind of attitude. I don't know. There was something about it that was interesting.
Yeah, what if like as soon as those stage lights are off and he's off backstage, he's like the most cutthroat business a-hole. He's like, when's this game getting delivered? It's supposed to be on my desk by yesterday.
Yep.
Get those programmers programming.
Janice, hold my calls. I'm going to beat up a kid in the mailroom or whatever. Yeah, some total
I
a-hole.
got a junior dev
no.
talking lip to me, and I got to teach him his place.
That's right. That's right.
Get me my Switch.
You heard it here first, everybody. Okay, tell me about this Fall Guys crossover. I missed this entirely. Is this an Epic? It's an Epic deal they're making then, because this Epic owns Fall Guys now. So
yeah, there's gonna be it's what everybody thought it was, and then it goes a little further. So they were like, hey, we're partnering with Fall Guys for a crossover, and they showed a little trailer. That's what the link is. And you see the little beans running around, and then before you know it, all the little beans are wearing cute little Final Fantasy outfits, and look, they're dressed up in Final Fantasy 14 outfits as they're doing their little bean things. And it's like, okay, well, you know what? That's exactly what I expected a partnership with Fall Guys to look like. But it turns out, once that got done, people were like, polite applause. You're making deals. You're doing stuff.
yeah.
And then Yoshi P says, well, but this is a crossover, which means Fall Guys is also coming to Final Fantasy 14. So in one of their future updates, they are adding to the Gold Saucer a Fall Guys stage where you will, as your Final Fantasy 14 characters, be running through this sort of bullshit. And they'll be doing a Fall Guys minigame inside of Final Fantasy 14.
All right. That should irritate me and make me hate it, but I think I actually really like that idea a lot.
But that's what you want these to be, right? You
Yeah.
don't want it to be the simple cash in of like, oh, you like this game, so spend your money in this game because you like this game. Like that's kind of soulless to a degree.
Yeah.
You want the one where it's, and we also put it in this game, the one that you actually play. It's also going to be here for no good reason.
Yeah.
I mean,
Except
so
that
hang
it's
on.
fun and it's dumb.
There's a fun question that this brings up. Since you are a full Final Fantasy acolyte, a priest of the Eorzea, is that the name of the world?
Uh-huh.
You're
It's
an
the name of a
Azorian,
continent, but yeah.
Eorzean prince. Well, what's the name of the world then?
Sorta, it's called Hydaelyn.
Hydaelyn?
Heidelin?
Hydaelyn?
Heidelin.
So you're a Hydaelynian priest,
Uh-huh.
an avatar of Hydaelyn.
Uh-huh.
And you play the game. But for me and Scott, we're like, I don't know, we dip out. We like it looks cool, but we can't really bring us in. What crossover to this extent do you think would bring Scott and myself over?
Yeah, what would do it?
Because you started describing Fall Guys, and I'm like, what if they put Yakuza in Final Fantasy? What if Kiryu Kazama was in, you know what I mean? Like, what are the possibilities here?
I don't know. They seem
think
pretty
about it.
willing to put weird and wild stuff in it as long as it makes sense. Like he got asked again if there was going to be a Final Fantasy 16 tie-in, and he all but confirmed that yes, it will happen.
Oh, of course.
And so they're not shy about letting stuff be in the game. I don't know what would get you guys because I mean for Scott, I just don't think it's his style game. Bo, I feel like it would be maybe more for you, but I just don't know that you have the time or interest in it.
I mean,
so
100%. I know what they could do is a Rocksmith crossover. Like, let me bard
let
with my
you bard with your guitar.
actual guitar, and like, I'm gonna consider a career change for
You
sure.
know what? That could happen.
Maybe Ubisoft to be down.
Maybe not Rocksmith itself, but
Mm.
an actual tie-in. They sold a Final Fantasy 14 guitar, like an actual electric guitar.
At the event?
They announced at this that they were doing a actual Final Fantasy 14 themed DJ turntable.
What?
Like they like to create music products, and they're good quality music products too. You can already play musical notes in 14 as a bard. That's what Bo got so caught up doing.
But it's not. There's
but it's
lag,
not,
and they need the work, and yeah, it needs work. But if I can actually play my legit guitar and have other people hear it, then I'm gonna have to sub and start playing the game. And like, sorry, core listeners, the variety is gonna go down immensely.
Don't worry, I'll bring 15 indie games I didn't have time to play entirely every week. It'll be fine. It'll be all right.
For the record, I've done the barding in the games because people in the chat room are mentioning it. I've done it. It's cool, but it's nowhere near the potential.
It's what brought an end to his playing the game. But I was like, yeah, I'm playing it. It's okay. And then all of a sudden,
all I did for a week.
He got barred, and then it was for a week in core, all he did was stand in taverns and play music for people.
There's a third party mod that you get that can play MIDI files, but only within a certain note range because it's limited on its MIDI. And you can download MIDI files all over the place, recognizable songs. I rearranged them so they fit within those octaves, and then would hang around and just toss a coin to your Witcher. I mean, that's But it's limited when you just press play on something and just play. And I don't play piano. I play guitar. So
right, and you did that for what 1 or 2 weeks solid.
Yeah,
I feel like we heard about it about 2 weeks. I feel like it was like 1 week was stepping into the pool, and by the second week he was like, I'm performing concerts.
I leveled to 30 and stayed level 30 for forever.
Yep.
I hit max level.
For one, it's like this is the kind of thing you'll never see WoW do a crossover like this. And they're just too buttoned up about that stuff, I think, over there to ever do that. Unless it was their own IP. They do their own crossover all the time. There's weird Diablo shit in there and a Zergling pet and WoW and all that. I don't mean their own things, but to take other people's IPs and mix them around, I never could see them do that. I like their willingness to do this. It's weird and funky. Like Fall Guys we should all be doing gamer smirk at this and think it's stupid. But we don't think it's stupid because I think we know that they have a lighthearted approach to this.
I think that's the intelligent thing that they've done with 14 is they've created a game that can be very serious when it needs to be serious, that can also be extremely stupid when it wants to be extremely stupid. And you just have to know when and where to relegate the things too. They put it in the gold saucer, which makes perfect sense. That's already like a big crazy casino where you're playing a bunch of mini games and you go, all right, well, here's a new mini game in the golden saucer. And everybody goes, all right, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
It's not unheard of. You know, you just got to pick your right spots to do it and do it in ways that that works to the content. And that's what they did. And I think most people are just like, yeah, just, you know, I'm down to have a good time.
Well, speaking of working weird stuff in, Yoshi P and the team tried to add the pixel remasters into Final Fantasy XIV and still kind of want to. Did they say why it didn't take?
Yeah. So this was a weird question. I guess somebody asked him, hey, don't you think it would be cool if when I'm in my house in Final Fantasy XIV, if I could play like the original Final Fantasy in the house? And Yoshi P's response was, yes, we think it was really cool. We tried it. When all the Pixel remasters came out, we wanted to make it to where you could play the Pixel remasters inside 14, and you could either have them set up in your house or, you know, somewhere in it. But he basically said the problem is that those Pixel remasters run off of middleware. And so to get it in the game, they would have to develop middleware for Final Fantasy XIV to run the middleware of the Pixel remasters to then run the Pixel remasters on. And he said, my team is crazy, but I don't think they're that crazy. And then he said, but if you're a really good programmer, you know, let us know. No, he still clearly wants to do it.
Yeah.
He hasn't completely ruled it out. And
I feel like for this to be cool, I think you shouldn't relegate it to the house. There should be public gaming stations, and you can watch and play with people as like a social thing.
That would be
that'd
cool.
be kind of cool. Yeah, that'd be
But
neat.
then you would be Bo again, doing 2 weeks of nothing but old school Final Fantasy and not playing the real game.
Imagine, here's what we'll do: we'll add League of Legends to the to Final Fantasy, and you'll have people playing in like pod, like, you know, like live 5v5s, like they do at
Now you're
conventions
talking.
and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the
And you can
closest
see their whole screen and everything, and see it on
That'd
an
be
overhead.
cool.
I feel like
That'd
the
be
closest
awesome.
Blizzard got to that was when Bejeweled very briefly existed as a thing to do while you were flying.
Oh, and Peggle. Peggle was
Peggle?
in there too.
Yeah.
Because I did play a lot of WoW Peggle. Yeah.
I loved that. I mean, I liked it mainly because we were flying. You were doing a lot of taxiing is when you would use it. In fact, I think it shut off if you landed. I can't remember how
There
it
weren't
worked.
as many portals, I think, at that time, so you were flying a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, I did it too.
I thought that was cool.
You're like, I gotta fly all the way down to Daenerys. Guess it's time to play some Peggle.
Wasn't there there was like a shmup, like a scrolling shooter shmuppy thing too? Or no, you know what I'm thinking of is StarCraft Arcade, which I guess is that even a thing now? Can you go into StarCraft's arcade mode and like download mods and all that? Okay.
Can't confirm. People are still making things in there.
Been a while.
But I just thought that was a cool little discovery that, like, you know, it seems like a weird question, but then not only is it a weird question, but like turns out they actually tried it. And not only that, it just reminds me of, do you remember the GameCube Animal Crossing where you could buy a bunch of Nintendo games and play them?
Oh, hell
in
yeah. The
Animal
cards and
Crossing?
stuff. Yeah. They had some you could just find. I played Balloon Fight. Yeah. NES, the NES game Balloon Fight, which is a Joust ripoff. Once I found that item in the game, it was literally an arcade machine in my little house. I could go up to it, press A or whatever, and be in and play the game as if it was, you know, whatever. It was like embedded in the game. And it was so cool. I loved that. And they haven't done that since, by the way. None of the Animal Crossings since. Maybe the DS game had something like that. I can't remember. But like the new one, you can't do that. You can have these fake versions of games in your house, but they don't play, which is a real shame. Because that's just an awesome idea. I love it.
Yeah. So I think that would be cool. I don't know if it'll ever happen. I can still play all those games. I don't need it, but it's a silly thought, and once again kind of shows the weird things that they think about as a team to put in that game that I just love.
I respect it. ExileCon also happened. Did they cross over these two things on time? I think they did. Were they happening at the same time?
I didn't see any Final Fantasy stuff, but
yeah,
I was aware of ExileCon.
Something like that. ExileCon happened. This is for Path of Exile, for those who are not aware. This happened in Auckland, New Zealand. And they talked about Path of Exile 2. It's, by the way, big announcement is that it will be its own game. Prior to this con, they had announced it initially and had talked since about it being a replacement, kind of Overwatch 2 style. It would be the new Path of Exile. It would replace the existing one. That is no longer the case. PoE 1 will, I don't know, like old school RuneScape, I suppose, will continue to be a game.
They're going to support both games and have new seasons for both.
Right.
So it's like, even though it's called 2, it's like just 2 concurrent games, one older.
My nephew at this family reunion is a huge Path of Exile fiend.
Did you hear all about it?
Yeah, we talked a bunch about it. We actually had a huge conversation about Diablo and Path of Exile and a bunch of, or what's that other one we're all kind of looking forward to that's not done yet? Shoot, the one on Steam. Can't think of it. Anyway, someone in the chat will know it.
Last Epoch?
Last Epoch, that's it. He's just like a complete freak about action RPGs, and he doesn't think he's still enjoying Diablo and thinks things will suss out fine over there. He's not as doom and gloom as a lot of players are about it, but he's very excited about what Path 2 is. He seemed a little concerned that 2 would not replace 1 because now he feels a little split. And I said, well, if 2's tons better, then you'll just stick with 2, right? And he's like, I don't know, like it's just a weird thing. There's some value in just replacing it, I guess. But then I know there are players that never want to lose the original thing either. So I don't know. We didn't really come to any kind of, great ideas in that conversation other than we talked about it.
ARPG players are weird. This is also the same genre where people still worship a 20-year-old game as like the best thing ever. So,
Yeah,
that's
true.
They make them a little different. And I think if you don't fit that mold, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't feel bad if you're like, I don't get it.
I love their website for that event. One of my favorite things about it is it says things to do while you're in New Zealand at the bottom. Besides this con, one of them is go to the Hobbiton movie set and look at the freaking Hobbit Hole house, which I would do if I was there. It's great.
Yeah.
What else? The Weta Workshop tour. That sounds like fun. It's almost all entirely Lord of the Rings related fun on the side. But anyway, they still don't show damage numbers, so Bo's out. He's not interested.
Well, I said that as a joke in our Discord, but I will say after my comment I left, I was like, maybe I should watch a little more. And I did end up watching a bit more of the content and added some more notes that you see. I think I'll end up trying it. Like, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. From what I can, some of the new footage and stuff looked pretty good. I'm going to try this game. I don't know if I'll get devoted to it.
The major thing is that's going on in my head right now is Path of Exile 1's 10 years old. I think they were very much an underdog, almost one might say quasi-indie, or if not an indie studio. They've had 10 years of, they've been succeeding. I think it's not nothing for an ARPG to be your only game.
Yeah.
And to still be healthy enough to release a sequel after 10 years. Yeah, they got bought by Tencent and stuff, but still.
Yeah.
And so Path of Exile 2 is like their only project. Like, this thing, if anything, I think Blizzard is a large bureaucracy. Like, it's sort of expected that its tone is going to be different, but these guys are like just a single devoted team working on one single thing. This, by all accounts, should blow Diablo 4 out of the water, with no shade to like Blizzard or anything, just because this is all they do.
Yeah.
So like, things are sounding good. We'll see what things taste like when we get the product. But like, I'm actually like, there's reasons to be excited, even if you look at it and don't feel excited. Like, they've been working at ARPGs for 10 years. They've been doing this thing for a long time, and they're releasing this full other entry. It should be excellent.
Yeah. One would hope. And it's no longer replacing the old one, so I guess rejoice. Apparently it's huge. 6 acts, 600 enemies, 100 new bosses, unique mechanics. Some microtransactions will carry from both games, like stash tabs. So that's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, didn't they say that their plan is if it can carry over, it will? But
yeah, so most of the classes are the same in both games. Like, the classes are the same in both games. So if you buy a spell effect cosmetic for, I don't know, Templar, let's say, in Path of Exile 1, well, you get it in Path of Exile 2 as well.
Okay. That's good.
Only buy it once.
I bet people are happy about that.
But there are some unique new classes in 2, like Druid, where if you buy a spell effect, you don't get it in 1 because there's no Druid in Path of Exile 1.
They're going to alternate these seasons, by the way, that you mentioned. So PoE 1 will have a season, PoE 2, well, then we'll have theirs, and they'll be staggered.
PoE 1 is not getting deprecated. It's like they're just running 2 games now, basically.
They also have a dodge roll with no cooldown. This is probably controversial, or maybe less so because it has no cooldown. I don't know.
It's like Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Like, it's just you get to roll. It's not going to save you, but yeah. I mean, this continues on the jabs. When I was watching this, the jabs to D4. I mean, one dev at one point even said, like, just as the lights cut out, you can squeeze in a few words. I think it was a dev. I'm not sure. It was somebody in the presentation who was just like, D4 bad.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, they're really not gracious when it comes to Blizzard.
Yeah, they're kind of
annoying.
But it's part of their thing, though, right? Now it's just who they are.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they sell to the haters. That's part of their identity.
If you've ever seen, if anyone listening, I know you guys have, but if you've seen the relatively recent season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, where Larry David starts a spite store, and he learns what a spite store is from all these other celebrities. That's what Path of Exile's always felt like. Somebody set up a spite store to me. That's how it feels.
I think it's more. I think it is a spite story. I think you're right, but there's a little bit of also we're gonna prove that we're better than them. There's a bit of that going on too.
Yeah.
Larry's spite store. Larry was not trying to make a good coffee shop. It was purely spite.
Yeah, Larry's. What was that called? Larry's. No.
Latte Larry's.
Latte Larry's. That's it. Oh, it's such a good season, you guys.
It is.
Let's see. They added the new classes, as you mentioned, Monk and Druid. Melee is much improved. Sorceress, Monk, Huntress, Mercenary, Warrior, and Druid, in addition to existing classes, whatever those are.
So it's like 12 or 18 classes or something. Like, it's a lot of choice.
Check out this meta gem business. You can socket gems, wait for it, into other gems. Oh, shit!
Yeah.
What do you...
All that to say is, if you thought maybe for 2 they would make an accessible game, they've been very much on the record to be like, no, we're making it more complicated. And if you see that kind of, they want the player that looks at that complexity and goes, "Oh, this is for me."
Yeah, they're
not like remotely interested in being friendly to anyone who wants a
Is the story talked about at all at this event? Did they get into any of that? Because that story's been obtuse. Every time I try to get in there, I find it impenetrable. It's just like...
Not that I noticed, but like I didn't watch a ton. I watched some of the presentation. It was, so I don't know.
I don't want to speak for, when everybody's like... Remember when I was getting kind of heated about Diablo's story and people were like, why do you care about Diablo's story?
Yeah.
I feel like Path of Exile is a lot like that, and a lot like most things Path of Exile, a little bit more. I think that they don't go to Path of Exile for the story.
No.
I'm sure they exist. I'm sure there's someone out there that's like, actually, Path of Exile has a robust lore that is really good. But I think even more than Diablo, they're not there for the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Especially at this stage. Like if you're a hardcore PoE fan, is that really even on your radar, that part? Is that going to blow it for you? Probably not. If it's not great or not.
I don't think that's the deal breaker, I guess is the better way to phrase it. Not to say that you can just not include it, but I don't think that's the top of their worry list.
Nope.
And I've played it a number of times for quite a bit. I couldn't tell you.
I know, dude.
Anything. I know the continent's called Ray Class. I know you get exiled from some other place to be on an island. That's about all I got. I could tell you all the livelong day about Diablo stuff, but I have no idea.
Yeah, all I know story-wise is I find myself washed up on the shore. That's it.
Yeah,
it's a shore. There's stuff there. There's dirt and sand and things to fight. I pick up a piece of wood and I can hit with it. That's the story of Path of Exile.
Not a memorable NPC to be found.
No. And this is not a slight. I think this is by design. I think they're just making the game is a mechanics game. It's a numbers go up and a mechanical thing. That's what it is.
Yeah. But don't show them the numbers.
No, don't. We don't want to see the numbers. Let's see. Closed beta starts in July of next year. So you got a ways to wait until you're playing this thing.
Game's not coming out anytime soon. So,
No.
But the pandemic hit all of us, and they were explaining that that's the case.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Pre-pandemic.
Well, that is your look at that. Let's talk about some of the games we played this week, because why not? We didn't do any shared stuff. Okay, that's the first thing to say. But we did play games, and I did have time to play a bunch of stuff before I left and a little bit when I got back. And I'm going to talk about the thing I played the most before I left. I was in the mood for some really great dragons. Okay.
Dragon.
So I thought,
I didn't know you got into Final Fantasy 14. You were making it sound like you weren't playing it.
I was like, where will I find these? And even in my head, my brain on the little list I have said, do you mean Final Fantasy? And then my other part of my brain laughed really hard and almost fell off the brain
Yeah,
stem.
you were like, that would require investing myself in something.
So anyway, yeah, I reinstalled ESO. I'm playing Elder Scrolls Online again because I did want to try it when it first came out, but a lot of other stuff going on. I hadn't had a chance. So I finally picked up the Necrom expansion, which is their latest chapter, they call them, in the game, and introduced a new class, the Arcanist. And that's a very fun class, by the way. Having a really good time with it. Anyway, it is very solid so far. Once again, their strengths are on display. They tell a very compelling, interesting, overarching story that is told entirely with wonderful voice actors who really know how to talk. And I find that stuff very compelling every time there's a new expansion. So I'm playing through all that right now. Kind of that's where my focus is, and building a new character because the game lets you tackle any part of the game you want at any time. I just started this expansion with this level 0 or level 1, I guess, Arcanist. And I think he's level 15 or something now. Anyway, I'm getting in there a good ways, doing some side stuff. Some of these side quests have blown my freaking mind. And this game's like a lot of not Eye of the Beholder, but like what's a good D&D comparison? Like who are the Mind Reader guys? They're total dicks.
Beholders? Oh, Mind Flayers.
Mind Flayers, right.
The
Illithids and that sort of stuff. There's a lot of that, like a lot of Elder God, alternate reality, come through this green portal to this weird place where this one-eyed thing with tentacles everywhere is going to talk to you and tell you what the problem is. And that's the theme sort of going into this one.
You found Deckard Cain.
Yeah, that guy's very Deckard. He's the ghost that lives inside me. It's a whole story. It's extremely good. I think ESO rocks, and I'm having a blast. I don't know why I ever fall off. I just get busy with other stuff or whatever, but I just really like ESO. I would say this to people. Like, do you come to it for combat complexity? Probably not. Do you come to it for, I don't know, anime, too many legs, dragons? No, you don't do that. You come to it for a very specific, like, heavy focus on a very specific storyline that kind of starts and ends with that chapter plus DLC or other side stuff. And you just play it. It's good. It's just a good game. And your numbers go up and you level up and you get cool new shit. And, even the PvP is kind of fun. I don't do that very often, but I'm back in.
I like the name Necrom. It sounds like Conan the Barbarian's god died.
A little bit. Like Crom. And now he's
and now he's back.
Necrotic Crom.
Hey guys, Crom's back.
Crom's
he's
back.
A zombie now.
Yo, look at Crom. He's back. And it's got. The one thing I do like is you go into these Netherrealm places that are very different from the rest of Tamriel, and a lot of it is marked by these crazy structures of books, because it's all the knowledge that exists. And so everything's made of huge book structures, and there's just billions of books piled on top of each other and swirling in little tornadoes of books. And there's books you can kill and get some really interesting fish bait from these dead books and stuff like this to catch special fish.
What I would have expected to get from killing a book.
No, it does sound very. It sounds like a very.
If you gave me
thing.
a list of 10 things and you said you kill a book, what do you think you looted from it? Fish bait?
Yeah.
Not high on that list.
No, it doesn't seem like a thing you'd want to do. But there's all those little systems are still in the game. But the that vibe of this corridor I'm in is just a giant cave made of books is really cool. Like it's a really cool aesthetic, and I'm super into it. So far very compelling, enjoying the heck out of it, and thinking about starting a guild again. I don't know. We'll see. I know the one already exists for AIE, but I was thinking about doing a little sneaky one that now I've said out loud. So we'll see.
Yeah, like a cool edgy.
Yeah, an edgy one.
Like not so corporate.
Stick
AIE
it
went
to the
corporate.
man.
You can be edgy and indie.
Yeah, stick it to the man is what I'm always about. All right. Anyway, very cool expansion. Let's see. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Oh, yeah. Now, I didn't get this on Steam. It just hit Steam.
Yep.
But that is not where I played it. I'm playing it on PlayStation 5 and put that off forever. Just never got around to it. Everybody said it's wonderful. It's Insomniac at their best. You should play it. Blah, blah, blah. If you like the old ones, you'll love this. And they're right. It's rad. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is a very good game. It's, it's very Ratchet and Clank. You run around primarily as Ratchet, although there are times when you do things as Clank or as other new characters. I don't want to give anything away, but you are rifts in time and space are being opened is a simple way of putting it. And you have to navigate through them. And it does use some pretty cool technology where you literally jump through a hole and you're in a whole different world seamlessly with no load times. It's pretty crazy. It's a real showcase of MV&E drives and this stuff that Series X and PlayStation 5 use to load data. But it's also when it's doing like real-time cutscenes or even gameplay, you feel like you are playing a real-time like Pixar game, like a Pixar movie that you control. Utterly mind-blowing graphics. I think it's really nice. I'm sure
how do you think they accomplish it? Like, is it just very plain textures, or
I don't think so. I mean,
they're getting a lot of performance out of what looks really like I've been watching videos of it. And I'm like, it looks pretty amazing.
I mean, if you ask Sony, they just say, "Well, it's the PlayStation 5 experience," whatever. I don't know, but
it's blast processing.
I think it's just extremely well optimized. Insomniac knows how to make game. They're one of the best developers on the planet. One could argue. Their Spider-Man games are insane. Like they're just a really great dev, and I don't know. This is just like beautiful, and it's using ray tracing even on the PS5. I'm sure the PC version with all the things you can do with your card now. I'm sure it's even better, and it's being received really well. No big glitches on this release, so that's nice.
You see a lot of blur in the background, so I wonder if they can load lower res textures with the bokeh effect.
Maybe. I mean, they use it to really nice effect cinematically.
Yeah, it looks great. It's like tricks, right? Like it's not. Mm-hmm. They're just putting in the extra effort to to get that performance out of it. Yeah, looks great.
It's super impressive. And I took too long to play it, so I've been streaming that. I had to leave town for this trip, so I haven't been able to touch it since I left. But I'm going to keep streaming it and see this one through. Also, a really good story so far, and I don't want to give any of it away, so I'll let people play it on their own. But I'm hearing the Steam version is like solid as a rock, launched really good. No big complaints about some of the recent Sony ports have been trouble, but this has not been trouble. This has been real good. So there's that. Ratchet and Clank.
Recommend.
But very high recommend, especially if you have a PS5 and you have, I guess it's the middle tiered plus. This is just in there. You just play it, so you don't have to buy it. Let's see. And then I got home today and I played a game called Mega City Police. Oh man, these guys know me. These people that made this game. So it's an indie game that is basically you choosing between. It feels like you're choosing between like Sylvester Stallone, RoboCop, or Sarah Connor are your kind of archetypes, even though they're not called that in this. They look just like those characters. And it's a very chunky, pixelated, top-down game, dual-stick shooter style. Very difficult in a kind of Hotline Miami kind of way. Less like, a door opened and 4 guys hopped out and shot me immediately and I just missed it by a half a millisecond. Not like that, but just tricky shooting. Trying to think of another game it reminds me of.
Like bullet hell style kind of.
Some of it, the bosses especially, are shooting all kinds of bullshit at you, but normal characters are not so bad. Normal enemies, I should say. But you top down shoot, you get better guns, better gear, you upgrade your stats. It's it's a roguelike in that sense, but it's got this very kind of 80s tough guy movie vibe, and I really like it. And you have advantages of picking one of the characters. Like the RoboCop character is a lot more health. He's super strong. He's tanky. This guy here is more kind of good at everything. John would like the girl because the girl not only reminds me of Sarah Connor, but she also has her special ability that's on cooldown is her going stealth, which I immediately thought.
Hell yeah!
So she's kind of a rogue. Lots of blood, lots of blowing dudes up, picking up their cash when they die. Fight the boss, unlock a bunch of new shit. You got to get that cash. If you like arcadey top-down dual stickers, this is great, and it's only like $12. That's why I actually bought it on the trip when I had internet, so that I could come home and immediately play it, and I did. I played it today, and it was great. So I haven't had a ton of time.
It'd be great on a Steam Deck too, though. Right?
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, well, I haven't tried yet, but I assume so. I hope it's probably too new to be certified, but usually it doesn't matter. Most of these games work great, so I will give that a shot this weekend, or this week rather. I don't know what day it is. It's Monday, isn't it?
It's Monday.
It's a Monday. You also have a melee move, and your special moves are different per character. There's a lot of variation. And this guy's playing very careful in this video. He's smart to do that. I kind of went all guns blazing and got wrecked pretty quick. So there's some strategy into where you position yourself and when you shoot. And if a guy throws Molotov cocktail, you want to be real careful around those guys because they're huge dicks.
Right.
It's great. It's really fun.
And it's got the Contra projectiles.
Yep. Oh yeah. And I would call it maybe even Broforce-ish in tone.
Yeah.
Not quite. Yeah. That's also
kind of seems in that same vein, though.
Definitely in that vein. It's called Mega City Police. It's on Steam. Might be coming to other places. I have not checked, but it is great so far. And I will play more of that. So that's your big indie of the week. I also installed that new... I got a code for it while I was gone, so I was thrilled to come home to this. But for the new Expanse game, the Telltale game.
Yeah.
So this is... what's the full name here? I have it right here. Oh, The Expanse, a Telltale series game. So this is episode 1, I suppose. They're back to episodic. And this is Drummer. Bo, you know her. You love her.
I do know Drummer.
She's your main character in this story. She's voiced by the actress who did it in the show. And the producers and the authors, they all had a hand in this. It is supposed to be great, from what I'm hearing. Like Telltale back in whatever prime they were ever in, is what I'm hearing.
I've heard good things. I'm like gonna play this, but I'm waiting for the whole. I know I'm gonna play episode 1 and be pissed that I can't keep playing. So
right,
it's like it's not. I was like, Baldur's Gate 3 is out in 3 days. 2.5 days. I don't need this right now. Let's wait till it's fully released. That's sort of where my head's at on this.
I totally get it. I would probably wait too if I didn't get the code, but they only gave me the code for the first episode, so after that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was absolutely thinking about like picking it up and being like, yeah, I need to see what's going on, but I'm like, I just know that it's that feeling when it's like that with TV too. Oh, I'm really into this. Well, guess what? You're waiting a week, Grandpa. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And with these, you're waiting a little longer. It's typically about a month between games, or at least it has been in the past. I don't know with this one.
Yeah.
So I'm a little disappointed that they decided to do this, but that's okay.
But as you can see, like this scene I'm looking at right now, it'll catch up to you guys in a second. They're not holding back. Ooh. Look at these severed heads hanging here.
Heads.
Yeah, they take the material seriously. The stylistic choices look good. The animation looks less stiff than I'm expecting from Telltale.
I mean,
like there's a lot.
I'm expecting, Telltale. I mean, they have a track record of being good about this, so I'm fully expecting it to fit the tone of the show.
Yeah.
And not be sort of out of left field.
Yeah.
Actually, there's another game too that I'm interested in. Although I'm like kind of waiting for it to be on Steam. Is the Star Trek Resurgence game?
Oh yeah, same.
Oh yeah. That was another one I had my eye on. Yeah. Is
that them again? Is it?
No, I think it's a different company. But again, it's only on Epic. Like, come on, guys.
I think that might be true of this first episode too. Yeah. PS5 and Epic are the only places you can play this right now. This Expanse one. Anyway,
who makes it?
I'm looking right now. See if
Dramatic Labs. Yeah, so it's a non Telltale game, but it's essentially that, it's a game in that genre.
Heard real good things about it. Yeah.
What I read was like it's more like original Trek than this new era of Trek, which is like definitely a huge there's a huge appeal to have, a new episode in the old style. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, great. Even if it wasn't that interactive, I'd still be kind of into it.
Yeah.
And apparently, it's quite good, reviewed well. So I want to try it.
Kind of in the mood for this sort of thing right now. So
The only thing holding me back is just like, I really don't like Epic Game Store.
Chat says, I thought Telltale went bankrupt. They did. They got bought by, is it Embracer? Who owns them now?
Embracer would be a good guess because they bought a lot of stuff.
Crap. Let me look it up.
Oh, Telltale's back.
They're back. They were founded in 04. They went defunct in 2018. They are now, does it say who bought them?
Oh shit, that didn't take that long.
Oh, here it is. LCG Entertainment is the parent company, and now they're launching a whole bunch of new games. So
just as a little side note, because I had the stores open and something caught my eye that I have to share. Released, I think today, is a little game called COVID Carl.
COVID Carl? Tell me more.
I'm like,
is this a Steam
I've been
game?
waiting for this. It's the first pandemic, I guess, game. And also Carl is the names used. Oh, COVID Carl's on Steam too. Okay.
Yeah, here it is. I see it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh, so it was just released on Epic, but it's been on Steam for 2 years. Developed by Dumpster Fire Studio. Anyways, it looks a lot like Mega City Police, but cheaper, if that's possible.
Game is awesome. Great mix of Metroidvania, Contra-style side-scrolling shooter. Levels are challenging. Boss fights are intense. It's reviewed okay for the few reviews it has.
I think it's people who probably just find the fact that it's called COVID Carl funny, and that's why it's got a good review.
Maybe. It does look
I
like
just
somebody's...
realized looking at the Epic Store, because I had to pull it up, one of our favorite video games from a few years ago is about to be free. Loop Hero next week is free on Epic.
How is that even? That's a very good deal.
That's worth a download if you haven't tried it yet. For everyone listening, now you get it for free, no excuse.
Hell yes, because that game, still one of my favorite games. I love that game. All right, that's all I played. John, tell me about. Now this is interesting because I don't know when I had internet. I saw a conversation on our Discord, frogpants.com/Discord. If you're not in there, everybody. Where people are like, has John played the new Legend of Monkey Island Sea of Thieves content? And John was like, it's probably better with more people. And I saw a little back and forth. Turns out some are saying it's better on your own, but it sounds like you've now had time to play it, and I cannot wait to hear this. So tell us about Sea of Thieves and its weird Legend of Monkey Island crossover.
Not a lot of time, but I did jump in there just to check it out. I played, probably about 45 minutes or so, which was enough to get to Melee Island. And I gotta tell you, like, this is really cool. Like, I was not expecting this to kind of hit me the way it did. I just thought, okay, a Monkey Island spinoff, it makes sense in Sea of Thieves. What other famous pirates are you gonna do? But I was kind of taken aback by how I felt when I got off the boat and got onto Melee Island and started running around in first person in this town that, has been such a big part of so many games that I've played. Like, it was really kind of wild what it did. I was just like, it would be like going to an amusement park built around something that you just adored as a kid, it's just got that magical feeling. I'm like, oh my gosh, look, it's the Scum Bar, and I can go over here and there's the governor's mansion, and it's like all the stuff that I knew from Monkey Island. Like, it was just kind of magic to see it and be able to run around it. I don't know how much of the island they've put together. I did start to go down into the woods and the game teleported me back into the town. So I don't know if that's eventually you'll get there, because you can look down and you can see the circus tents and stuff like that. But I don't know if you'll ever be able to go there or not. I just haven't gotten far enough. But even just for it being the town, it's really impressive, and it plays like an adventure game. You go in there, you naturally, I went to the Scum Bar first. I asked the guy about Loom. He told me all about Loom. And then when I was done hearing about Loom, I went and talked to the 3 pirate lords. and they set me on my quest to a degree, and it's a lot of like, well, I need this. How am I going to solve a puzzle to get this so I can get this? And next thing I know, I'm playing an adventure game inside a Sea of Thieves.
Interesting.
And
did it just feel like the devs over at Rare were like, we are all freaks about like it? From what I've heard, it sounds like it is made by fans of the series. They love those games, so they wanted to do something special, getting this opportunity or something like that. And that's what it sounds like you're describing.
That's what it feels like. Like as soon as I went to the Scum Bar, I was like, "There's a couple things I need to see. Can I talk to Mancomb Seepgood?" Yep, there he is, and I can immediately ask him, "What's your name?" He tells me it's Mancomb Seepgood. There's the joke I wanted to hear. Good, moving on. Where's the guy that I can ask about Loom? There he is. He's voiced by Matt Mercer now, but
Nice.
there he is, and he's going to tell me all about Loom. You got Murray, the demonic talking skull up on the wall. You got your 3 pirate lords. It's very obvious that you're going to get to run around with Murray, but I haven't figured out how to take him down from the wall yet because the pirates don't want you to take Murray down. So there's one of the puzzles you got to solve. How are you going to get Murray? And it has such a fine attention to detail about the Monkey Island series that it just really fits. And like I said,
did you play Sea of Thieves before?
A little bit. Like I had a pirate.
Yeah,
but
this is
kind
of your introduction to it. Okay,
yeah,
because it's a I mean really great idea. Like because Sea of Thieves is also really good. Like just the water's great, the boating's awesome. And I don't have any connection to Secret of Monkey Island, but it seems to me like it's kind of a match made in heaven sort of thing. Yeah.
It seems like it.
if I was really had attachment to that game and I played it, I really like Sea of Thieves. I think it's even you talking about it. I'm like, well, why weren't we playing together? We should be playing this together. Like, it's so hard to play solo. The game is so much more fun.
I wish the game was more solo friendly. Actually, that's my only complaint about it. Not that I only want to play it that way, but I would play it more if it was, if I didn't have to.
This does feel a little more solo friendly because like so far the only sailing I've done was sail to Melee Island, and now it all seems like it's who are you going to talk to? What are you going to pick up? Solving puzzles, which granted you could do with other people, but sometimes puzzle solving with people is as much a hindrance as it is a help. It just sort of depends.
It's part of the charm of the game though. When you have like a little symbol and it's like search the island for this thing, and you've got a team of people trying to figure it out. I don't know. It makes for a good.
I mean, that was speaking of Telltale games. That was one of my favorite things in the Telltale Monkey Island games was when Guybrush was trying to teach LeChuck how to solve puzzles the way he does, and it was just a funny running gag where he's like, "Now, what do you do?" And LeChuck, use the rod, yes. On the clam, yes. And that's what it feels. I imagine it feels like trying to solve puzzles with a bunch of people together would be. Like,
that's great.
I mean, both ways are good. I'm glad it's good solo friendly.
Yeah.
But I almost spilled my coffee.
Whatever was going on there. That was weird.
A little fear in Bo in the middle of that sentence.
Yeah.
But whenever I see Sea of Thieves, I immediately think of like playing with people. It's just I'm kind of jonesing to play again.
All right. Well, there you go.
It's cool. I didn't get a lot. Again, not a lot of time spent on it, but I just figured I'd talk about it. And if you're a fan of Monkey Island, I think you owe it to yourself to play it.
You think I should play Monkey Island first and then play the content?
I mean, yes. I think you should play the Monkey Island games. You should play through.
Especially that new one's really good. Although
I mean, the problem is I just think so much of what's in there is referential humor to like it's definitely not introducing the jokes. It's the like here's the layup for the fans, like I didn't see anything in it where I was like, that's new and hilarious. Like it's a lot of, asking the guy about Loom is a meta joke on top of an old joke.
Yeah,
it's
I have no idea what you're talking about when you say that. I have no idea what you're talking about when you say
They
asked him about
attempted
Loom.
to do cross promotion back when Monkey Island came out, and there was a character wearing a sign that said "Ask me about Loom," which was an upcoming LucasArts game.
Yeah, I remember the box cover for Loom. I never played it. I
And
wasn't
when
sure
you
that's
talk
what
to him,
meant.
he would tell you how great Loom was gonna be. So it was like a guy inside a video game trying to sell you on the next video game. And now Loom, nobody cares about Loom except that it's a thing you ask pirates about now. So,
well, see now, Bo, you got to go catch up, and then you'll know all about Loom.
But yeah, I think you should play the Monkey Island games. You're not gonna, they're of a time. You're not gonna fall over laughing. But I think they're charming and they're
classic game can still hit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You'll get to see the inspiration for Stanley Billings. He's in there. So,
oh yeah, that's right. You're you go deep in that. I mean, that's a big part of you. Your fabric, that game.
Yeah. Stan S. Stanman is based on.
How is Remnant 2? Because
let's talk about wrestling.
Oh, you want
first,
wrestling first?
I'm gonna spend more. I like to end on my big games.
All right.
I know you go the other way, Scott, but I like to end on.
No, I like this sandwich. Let's do it. All right, wrestling, Frog Wrestling, 22K23, baby. What's going on in there?
I'm gonna keep this one pretty brief because I'm mostly just gonna talk about what we're doing this week and next week. So yeah, continuing more Frog Wrestling. We've had debuts a lot. This week, we had the surprise debut of Patrick Beja.
Oh, yeah.
Show up.
Yeah.
He showed up in the very match you're showing, Scott, as a surprise partner for Randy Jordan. Don't know what those two might have had in common in the past that would get them to unify, but
just sexual experiences. It's fine.
And
it's fine.
So I did say a lot last week that this week we were going to be doing the second free preview, was what we've been building up to, finding out who's going to challenge for all the belts. We know who's challenging basically for every belt except yours, which I guess I'll reveal here. Here's the big reveal. Garrett Weinzierl is going to be challenging Scott.
Oh shit.
I've run the numbers and Garrett has the best win percentage of anybody. I mean, Patrick has a 100% win rate, but he's only had one match. He doesn't count.
Yeah.
So Garrett is going to be challenging for your belt. Bo got close to challenging for the Dragon Beef title. He came up a little bit short. So Brian Ibbett is going to be challenging for the Dragon Beef title. Patrick and Randy are going to be challenging for the TMS tag titles. And Scott, Kim Johnson going to be challenging for the women's title.
Good Lord.
We're not
excited.
doing that this week.
Not this week. Okay.
I need more time to prepare for that. This week's going to be a crazy week with the kids going back to school, with me just starting to feel better. So this week, we're doing a crossover. We are officially going to have a There Will Be Dungeons event this week.
Yeah.
And the matches this week is going to be basically Kristen, Kyle, Scott, myself, and Bo all fighting our alter egos from There Will Be Dungeons, except for Bo, who was the DM. He will be fighting Diane Tallis. And that's gonna be the matches this week.
I certainly struggled to match your talent at the accent, so it's a fair. I've got my work cut out for me.
We got to do payback for Bo doing Diane Tallis dirty. So not that I'm picking favorites, but I hope Diane Tallis wins.
Yeah.
Maybe if we ever play D&D again, I will kill less of the character NPCs you like. Not that I did it on purpose. It's just how things ended up, but I'll try and nudge the dice a little bit, maybe, or something. Some of them survive sometimes.
Now, whether they stick around, I'll find out if people dig the idea of them sticking around and becoming regulars. I mean, wrestling's so theatrical, I don't think it's crazy to have, Nash and Varel and all of them running around competing for titles and stuff. So I kind of like the idea of them sticking around, but if people think it's too weird for fake D&D characters in this weird wrestling thing, I'll just keep it a one-off, but I really like the idea of them being there. So that'll be this week, and then we'll do the free preview the week after.
Nice. There's Patrick. I just want to make sure to get video of Patrick. Look at this, you guys.
Yeah.
Look at this.
I based him on, he's got his scarf. Here was my goal with Patrick. I wanted him
dirty with those boots. Oh my God.
I wanted him to look like a Street Fighter character because he plays so much Street Fighter.
Yeah, he loves fighting.
So the idea is that he's good at wrestling because he plays a lot of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
My first attempt to make Patrick was offensively French.
What, like a little beret on? And like,
he had a beret for the entrance and a scarf and the little striped shirt and the suspenders and that like high water pants. I basically Googled stereotypical French person and made it in the game.
I love it.
And I was like, well, I shouldn't do that. That seems wrong. And then I was like, well, he loves Street Fighter. So I based him on, I was like, what Street Fighter character is from France? And I found one, and I loosely based him on that. I don't know what the character is.
I want to see it. It must have been so much worse because like his current outfit for the listeners has the French flag streaked all across.
Oh yeah, it does. Look,
so he's still,
I even told him I was
gang.
like, I had to throw a little like too much French in there for sure. Let me see, who is he? French.
Patrick's like, there's more to my identity than than being
Abel.
French,
That's who he's based on. He's based
Isn't
on
he Finnish
Street
now?
Fighter character Abel.
Yeah.
Isn't he Finnish now? Anyways, like, doesn't he live?
He lives there.
But Finland,
we gotta lean into. So yeah, if you look up Abel, you'll see. I kind of went with that color palette. Abel's got the French flag on him in some pictures, so I put the French flag on him.
Well, he looks great. I mean, I'm backseat character creating. Sorry, John.
Well, it's fun to watch.
Well, I mean, you have the Canadian flag on your ass and VR goggles on your head. Like, it's not unheard of for me to go a little hard on things.
But like, I don't know. It's hard as a Canadian. It's hard to feel stereotyped even when it's happening because it's always like, you guys are so nice. You guys have like so happy. You have your healthcare. Like, this is everything's like a compliment. Like,
our stereotype of you is so weird and different than everybody else's. Which is just the way it is. Well, it looks like a blast as usual. So check out. Oh man, I got to be there this week. I got to figure out how to be there. I hate Wednesdays
to see the There Will Be Dungeons.
Oh yeah,
they look great.
Yeah,
my goodness, the entrances for them alone are so good.
Yeah, it's very very good. So if you haven't been keeping up, it's all up on Craftless Rogue on YouTube, all the archives and the live stuff on Twitch on Wednesdays. Yep. John, now we'll talk about your big game of the week. How do you like that game?
Remnant 2 is the game.
Whoa.
Holy shit, you guys, this game is so good.
Yeah.
I started excited for this game. I started talking to you about it going, yeah, it's pretty good. And over the course of the past week, I have absolutely fallen in love with this video game.
Whoa.
I think so I was a little hesitant at first because what happened is after the show last week, I still stand by that I think you can decide whether or not content is for you from reading it. But I did say, you know what? If I'm going to talk shit about Diablo 4 season, I should at least play it.
Yeah.
So I loaded up the Diablo 4 season and I was bored out of my mind within the first 30 minutes and went, nope, I'm not going to do this. I can't imagine investing another second into this. Yeah. And I shut it off and I went, all right, let's play Remnant 2 instead. And I think going from Diablo to Remnant 2, I went in expecting more of the Diablo DNA because it's got, for those who don't know, it always gets kind of simplified down as Dark Souls with guns. But it's got Dark Souls DNA, it's got Diablo DNA, it's got Destiny DNA, kind of all in what makes that game. And so I think going from Diablo to Remnant, I went in expecting a little more of the Diablo, and it's not there. It is not a third-person ARPG by any stretch of the imagination. Like, there's a reason they put Dark Souls primary front and center. The game is difficult. The game is meant to be played at a more methodical pace because you can get punished very easily for being a little too reckless and a little too haphazard with how you play. But there is a lot of Diablo DNA in there, and we'll talk about it. So at first I was like, it's okay. Yeah, it's all right. I went back into it after a bit of a break and said, you know what? Okay, let's treat this game like I'm playing a Dark Souls. And that's when it really clicked for me, and I haven't been able to put it down since. This game is so good. I haven't felt this way about a game like this since Elden Ring. It's the gunplay in it is perfect. Like I can't stress how well they've landed the shooting in this video game. It feels flawless. Like guns feel different, and they feel like, oh, there's a strength to using this gun. There's a benefit to it. There's a reason you want to use this weapon. The world feels full of like interesting mysteries and intrigue. I kind of wrote them off. I was kind of just mainlining the quest for the first bit. And because somebody told me, they're like, oh, you don't have to go into these optional areas. Like those are optional. You can just follow the main quest. And I did that, and I ended up kind of underpowered and undergeared for the things I was facing, and I was having a really hard time with it. And when I started over and started like really trying again to play the game with kind of new eyes, I went in and was like, no, I'm going to do the side content. And some of that stuff is unbelievably hard, the things it's asking you to do, but so rewarding when you complete it. You feel so good about yourself for, like I've really achieved something here. And it just plays really well. It has that sense of exploration, that thing where you go, you know what? I wonder if I could get up there, and then you find a way to get up there, and there's a cool secret. And it has the kind of Dark Souls element of layers of secrets. So like I found a key, and I couldn't tell right away what that opened. And then after a lot of exploring, I found a lockbox. And both of those things just went into my inventory. And then I noticed that if I examined the lockbox, I could examine the keyhole. And if I did that, I could use that key on that. But I could also turn that lockbox in to somebody who was looking for it. Once I opened it, because screw turning it in, there was a seed. I could give that seed to somebody, or I could take it home and plant it in the garden at my base. And the benefits and perks that it gives you, depending on your choices that you make, vary. I encountered a boss yesterday that I had to fight a ton. He was very challenging for me. And he's a completely optional boss. You can pay him. Like, he basically is like, pay tribute to me or fight. And I chose fight. And I don't know if I made the right choice, because I'm talking to other people now, and it seems like he was a dick, but maybe he was like the better, the lesser of two evils that I killed. But yeah. I killed him, and I'm living with that decision. But it changes what items you get. And that's the other thing that's so crazy about this game, is the randomness to it. I've made multiple different characters, and it has not been the same game any of the times that I played it. Now, you can get to same bosses, same hubs within it, but right now, the gameplay you're watching is me in a forest.
Yeah.
And I started in this forest twice between the 5 times I made a character to play around with the randomness. But both times that I started in the forest, it was in completely different versions of this forest. It was not the same. And other times, one time I started in a gothic village full of what looked like vampires. I've now since learned they're fae, they're like elves. But I thought they were vampires at first. And another time I started in a sci-fi city full of robots and mutants.
Oh, weird.
And you will go to all of these places, so you will see them. But even on my current playthrough, when I wound up in the vampire elf village, uh, the first time I went there, I was in like these ramshackle homes and, running through the streets and everybody yelling at me in a Cockney accent and shooting guns at me and stuff. When I got there on my second playthrough, uh, I was in a royal palace full of Tyraels, like angels.
Yeah.
And it's kind of wild how different your campaign will be. Again, you will still fight the same bosses. You will see repeated content. It's not like it's 100% new, but it's enough to where when you re-roll the campaign or you make a new character, it's not going to be literally the exact same experience that you had the first time. And I think there is something so cool about that, to know that if I do this again, if I complete the campaign and go back through, it's going to feel different. And I'm so excited about that. Like that's such a cool thing for me.
Crap, I'm gonna have to get this then. I was on the fence already. I was already kind of trigger fingering it, going, should I? And then John was like, yeah, so far it seems neat. And I'm like, okay, that makes it sound like I can wait till I get home before I make any decision.
If you scrub forward a little bit, you can see a boss fight. The boss fights in this game are really crazy because they're not challenging in the like, oh, it just soaks up a lot of bullets kind of way. They're challenging in other ways. They're almost like puzzles. So for example, you see me fighting a statue. The statue isn't the boss. That big thing with the red eye at the end of the thing is the boss. But the statue is the immediate problem. And when you take down the statue, the boss uses its health to regenerate the statue. So fighting the statue is an effective way to fight the boss. Problem is that once you do that once and you realize that's how you fight the boss starts shooting a one-hit kill laser down the path while you're still trying to deal with the statue. And it becomes this puzzle of knowing where to stand and where to shoot and how to fight the hands at the same time. Another one that gets a lot of attention, it's a very early boss, so it's not like a big spoiler or anything. There's one where you're in a maze and there are giant cubes floating above the maze and rolling through the maze. And if they roll on top of you, they crush you and you die instantly. And all you have to do is shoot all of these little white boxes that are on the cubes to kill the boss and not get crushed. And it sounds like a really simple premise, and it makes for a really awesome boss fight. But it's really challenging and really cool. And it's, again, not challenging in the sense that, oh, it takes so many shots to kill the cube. And that doesn't matter. It's challenging in the like gameplay sense of challenge.
Which is something I read this. The devs said that one of the chief complaints of the first game, which was also beloved, people really liked that first game, was that the boss fights were kind of bullet sponge fights, and they wanted to change that. And so now, from what I hear from you and others, is that they really did. They made every boss fight way more meaningful than that. Just a more creative way of taking down stuff, and less about just how many times do you shoot it. I think that bodes really well for this game. Let me ask you this: Does it feel like you're backtracking a lot when you die and stuff? Because I usually hate that in Souls-likes.
No, you can see this is the first boss of the first area, and you can see that's the run back to your restart.
Okay,
that's it. Run up a hill. There's no penalty for dying, so you're kind of expected that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you just sort of go, all right, well, you don't have to go get your souls back or anything like that. Like, they just know that you're going to die, and you just go and you keep trying till you get it. They seem to always place a checkpoint right before a big challenge, so they don't want you having to do big, long runs back. It can happen if you die out in the world to, the kind of stuff you're not really supposed to die from. You can end up, but they're pretty liberal about where they put teleports and checkpoints and stuff like that. It's pretty easy to navigate the world and not have to do a lot of backtracking to get back somewhere that you don't want to. And if you play smart, you're not going to respawn enemies in a big way all that frequently. So, I haven't had to feel like I was doing the same thing over and over again for no reason.
Right.
Usually it's because I did die or something crazy happened.
Oh, it looks like fun. I'm gonna have to get it because you
It's
just described
so cool.
three or four of the things I don't like about Souls likes you just said aren't in this game. I don't want to go get my souls back, and I don't want to rerun tons of content to get back to a boss. You just basically solved my problem. I don't mind the difficulty.
You don't like the animation speed, and this game is guns, so it's not really a problem.
It's not really the same issue, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn it! You're playing this on Steam.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's got co-op. Seems like it's really designed with co-op in mind. I'm actually playing on. For me, I've tried multiple difficulties. I've tried, I think, all of them at this point. And for what I'm looking for, I have found the right challenge in the easiest difficulty. I just find that, like, for the type of game I want to play by myself, that seems to feel about right. If I was playing with other people, though, I would definitely crank that difficulty up. It feels like it's just designed with more of that in mind.
This boss is wild. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on, and this is literally just boss number 1. So
when he just goes and shits on that robot again, and then the robot's back.
It's such a cool game. And because the premise of the story is you're visiting these alternate worlds, these different realities and stuff, a very diverse looking game.
Yeah.
Like, it's not all forest. It's not all fantasy. Like, sometimes you're in a weird sci-fi, dystopia, and sometimes you're in a fantasy land. Like, it's nuts how much variety they get out of it. So it is one of the coolest games I've played this year.
Awesome. All right. Damn it. I think I have to get this. Let's swing on over to Bo. Bo, you finished Yakuza Like a Dragon. What the frick? How the hell
I did
you do that?
And I'm almost 100% of the Steam achievements. Just working on the true final Millennium Tower.
Yeah.
All I got to say is if you're playing this game and you drop off, you should go back and stick with it, because especially if you've played any other Yakuzas, but even if you haven't, it gets so good at the end.
Tell me about this end game, because I didn't even know that was a thing. It's called the True Final Millennium Tower, and what do you do?
Yeah, so I mean, well, there's be spoilers if you show this for the story.
Oh, there will be? I don't want to give spoilers.
Yeah, if you're showing it on the stream.
Yeah.
Basically, the last level is a dungeon. It's called the Millennium Tower. So when you finish it, you're finished the game, but you can keep playing. Like, usually at the end of Yakuza games, you can keep playing to finish the mini games and side content you haven't done. So because this is an RPG, you can go do once you beat the Millennium Tower, then you can beat the final Millennium Tower. And then once you beat the final Millennium Tower, then you can then go beat the true final Millennium Tower. But it's just replaying the last dungeon over and over again. But achievements are behind it, and I'm 2 achievements away from maxing, and one of the achievements is getting all the achievements, so I'm really 1 away. And that's beating everything's like level 90 to 99, and they hit like houses, and so I'm just like my guys are like level mid 80s, so I don't have much more to go. I'm just grinding up and gonna beat that last dungeon. And then I'm gonna 100% the game. I've 100%ed all the side missions, everything. Except for mini games. I don't think I'm gonna do Mahjong, but
yeah,
all the important side quests I've done. And I gotta say, the story is like, I mean, it's not surprising because I played other Yakuza games, but the story gets really melodramatic, and they really put Ichiban through the ringer even as the game progresses further, to the point where, Mr. Positive Ichiban loses his mind and is like a rage monster, and there's one mentor out there who can help set him straight, and it's such an awesome reveal. It's so good. The story's amazing. This probably should have been Game of the year it came out. It just didn't play in 2020. And this, honestly, I'm having more fun with this than Diablo 4, for example. I mean, different games, they don't really compare, but
right.
It's up there with Disco Elysium. in terms
Damn.
of story.
Wow.
Like it doesn't accomplish like the level of choice and variability, but just in terms of like I'm crying at the end of this thing. I'm in tears at the last chapter.
Really?
The story is so good. Yeah, I mean, Yakuza usually one of the things they do well is write a good story that's kind of samey, but it's melodramatic. This one hurts more because Ichiban is such a nice guy. Like the other Yakuzas, it's like it's Godfather type stuff. It's family drama. You put one of mine in the hospital, I put one of yours in the morgue. That kind of business.
Yeah.
But Ichiban's just like a nice boy, and just needs some guidance. And like it gets kind of like dark and shitty, like for him, honestly. And the last sort of scene, it's like I didn't do the Japanese sub, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm watching English voiceover.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Ichiban like deserves an Academy Award. Like honestly, like just like the pure pathos at the end where he's just like pleading with another character over something. It's beautiful. And everyone should play this game to the end. Even if you just skip the side stuff, like it's so good. And I didn't know this, but George Takei does the voice of the Arakawa-san, the patriarch of the Arakawa family, like in the start. So, like yeah. Anyways, awesome experience. I loved it. I know you're liking Remnant 2, John, but I know the joys of a good Yakuza game, and
I
it feels
wanna
weird.
play it. Yeah.
It feels weird to be playing it in a time where Diablo and Baldur's Gate and Remnant 2 and Final Fantasy 16 are all out, but I think like if you haven't played this might, I'm not gonna say better or be like that kind of conversation, but like it's on that level, even though it looks like a goofy, sometimes it's goofy and weird and like not that good. In some ways, like there's no actual dragons or
I have
monsters. But
zero doubt that I would love this game.
when you're ready for
To
it,
me,
it's a
the
big
only issue
recommend.
was it overlaps in that whole like playing Final Fantasy on stream, and it was always that game of like, do I play this for content or do I play it for fun? And not being able to decide that has been like the stasis on that decision.
So I started playing it for content, and then people were like, "Oh, I'm leaving. I don't want spoilers." Like a lot of people want to play this, so I just decided I haven't streamed in like a week. I've just been playing it on my own. Just take it offline and get through it. It's a beautiful game.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's great. I recommend it highly.
Nice. Here's Ichiban.
Yeah.
You too.
He says you too.
And by the way, and Ichiban even does his impression of what happens when video game developers displease their shareholders. Check
Right
it
here.
out.
Oh, look at this. He is so funny about the way he does this stuff. Like that, I've played far enough in to get enough of, I'm well past where he gets his hair all
So
curly.
part of the investment mini game is you have shareholders meetings, and at the shareholders meetings, the shareholders are reaming you out. And if you run out of points in order to deal with their objections, Ichiban can jump in with his ultimate and he has 3 levels of apology. And the biggest one is he jumps from the desk and goes, "Please accept our humblest apologies." And he gets on the ground. It's like boom, boom.
Big giant text. It's kind of like how they handle when they have encounters. It's like mysterious men or
Yeah, I love the names for the encounters. They're
Yeah.
so good. Street toughs.
street
and,
toughs. Yeah, I'd love that.
And
So
like
good.
I said, the character appearances, because this is an original story, so you're like, I don't know any of the characters, but there's 7 other Yakuza games. Let's just say some of the characters from the other Yakuza games show up, and it's joyous. It's pure joy. You're just like, oh my god, I love that this is happening right now.
So on a
I'm not
scale
gonna
from
say
1 to
anymore.
10, how excited are you for the follow-up, the next one, where he's naked on the beach?
52.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's 100% guaranteed. It's like
when
one
you
of the best
see him
games I
naked
played.
on the beach in America, you're ready now.
I'm like, what happened? It's going to be amazing. It's going to, I mean, I don't even know how they're going to top what they did. The story, like, it gets sad. Like, that's the thing, is it's such a silly, goofy thing, but they're not like, well, this is a comedy, so we're just going to do funny shit. They actually, they break him down and have, it's on the level of, like, they hurt him. Like they hurt. He's a nice, lovable guy, and he's going to be hurt in very profound ways. By the way, shout out Jungi Han. He's one of the characters you pick up. He's a ex-Komi or ex-Jingon Mafia guy. He's Korean, living in Japan, and he's had reconstructive surgery, so he's actually not the person who he appears to be, but he's choosing to live his life as Jungi Han, as a body double. And anyways, he's not like a funny character. He does everything perfectly, so all of his moves are just badass as hell. Like he's the one non-comedic character, and he's just like incredible at everything all the time.
Wow.
That voice line you played at the start of the show was Zhao, right?
I think so. Here it is.
Intruders!
Yeah, he's the one. It's kind of a boss fight.
He's got glasses on.
Yeah.
So he's one of the other playable characters you're gonna get. Although he starts off as an enemy. I don't want to spoil too much, but Zhao's all the characters are great. So Zhao's someone you play as well. He's the leader of the Chinese. Well, it's not called Chinese Mafia in that one, but of the Liu Meng or Liu Meng.
You too.
Whoops, sorry. Looking him up. I can't find it. Yeah,
anyway.
That game's crazy. You know what the Yakuza series reminds me of? Before we move on, it reminds me of how Sega, who makes and publishes that game, those games, they made the Shenmue series, right? And that was supposed to be Shenmue changed the way we think about third person character driven blah blah blah, and it did. It was a big whoop at the time. On the Dreamcast, I guess.
Yeah, Dreamcast.
And everybody lost their shit, but this was where this was all headed. These games, right? Like Shenmue is like it feels like a draft for what would become the Yakuza series. In a weird
what's
way.
the meme? Shenmue walked so that Yakuza could fly.
There you go. That's it. Is that a thing? I hadn't even heard that. That's great.
That might be a thing.
If you made that up, that's brilliant.
No, I'm sure that's a thing.
All right.
And now in this game, you can go get Hong Kongs in alleyways.
Yeah.
So that's
Hong Kongs.
They call it. It's an achievement. You have to get 5 Hong Kongs from different people.
I think I know what those are.
Doesn't really explain.
It could be a lot of things.
Just called a Hong Kong.
Could be anything. Yeah.
If you've gotten a Hong Kong in the alleyway, you know it.
All I know is there was a dude
who
who was really expensive about it. He charged me 100,000 yen.
Oh my gosh, that's quite a lot of yen.
Yeah,
even by yen standards, that's pretty high.
But anyways, it was if you didn't know too, later in the game, one of the other side games or mini games, is Mario Kart.
Really?
Nice.
Well, it's called Dragon Kart. In case, just to entice you further, if you want to like race as Ichiban and have,
I'm sorry, is it a fully fledged like Mario Kart deal?
I mean, it's not as good as Mario Kart, but it's like they close off the streets of Kamurocho and Yokohama, and you race. You have little dragon carts, and you have rocket launchers and oil slicks and speed. Like it's all this stuff from Mario Kart.
I love stuff like that. Like the
You've given Scott so much to play.
I know, dude.
Show.
Well, I'm already like 4 hours into that game. I just need to keep going. But
the side missions take up a lot of time. You get into the game, you kind of get into wanting to do them.
Yeah.
But realistically, the story is like just really well done.
Do you remember the MK thing in Annihilation, John, or was it Armageddon? They called it Motor Combat. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was like a mini game where they basically are a little kart racer. I love that in all games. I want every game to have that. I want Elden Ring kart or whatever. Elden kart.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Yeah.
I would pick that too, actually.
Big giant bosses and little tiny carts.
Like a Dragon has it. Absolutely.
All right. Good recommendation there. I like it.
I wanted to stop by. These aren't quite games on my other things, and I won't spend a lot of time on them, but I wanted to they're kind of follow-ups to our previous conversations. I wanted to shout them out, if that's okay. They're game related.
Always.
Yeah.
I saw the Disco Elysium documentary that People Makes Games.
Oh, it's so good. I saw this too. It's so good. Sorry, go ahead.
You watched the whole 2 hours?
I did.
It's a pretty dry 2 hours, but like I watched it.
But I was hooked, dude. I was like I really like this dude at People Make Games, the host guy.
Yeah, he did a great job. He was even self-effacing, saying like, I wish I would have asked this or that. But honestly, the guy he did his homework. He explained everything in great detail. I mean, it was fantastic.
He's very good.
Journalism.
Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So,
it is even like I would recommend this to anybody who just is interested in you want to see you want to see a documentary on Enron because you want to know about the drama that created that mess, or whatever. It's one of those. It just happens to be about a game company, but the back and
no
forth.
resolution though. The story, because it's an ongoing thing. So that's the one thing you got to keep in mind is they're just going to present you with everything, and then you're going to decide where you land on it, which was very disappointing to me because I really like that game, obviously, but I don't think I like the creator. Like, I don't like anybody really.
No,
like
everyone involved kind of sucks,
except the workers. Like some of the workers seemed like they were caught in the middle between the inventors who maybe should own the IP, but seem like harassment assholes.
Yeah.
Like when the journalist is like, people are saying you harass them at the job and you're not really well liked there. What do you say? He's like, capitalism is terrible. And it's like the worst deflection possible, right? Like just like absolutely just lay into capitalism instead of addressing the question at all. And, not that anyone should feel bad for missing teeth, but the fact that you're missing teeth also doesn't help you in your harassment. Like, someone's like, you've been harassing people, you should be aware that you have a few missing teeth and answer the question. Yeah. I mean, I don't mean it's just true. I'm just like, come on, you fit the stereotype. Please help break it and defend yourself.
No, I 100% know what you're saying. It's impossible not to notice it, though. It adds.
It's very like I'm a big dick and asshole for saying it, but like whatever. It's what I'm thinking. I'm being honest with you. I'm like, you look like you harass people, but please, this is your chance to be like, yo. And he's like, capitalism is terrible, and I'm like, okay, send this man to jail. And the investors. I mean, one of the original investors did like a child porn book, kinda, like he was acquitted, but he was on trial because he wrote a pretty graphic book involving CP and stuff. And and then the other money guys,
the money guys are gross, both of them. I didn't like them, any of them.
Yeah, and the two other money guys seemed to be like they knew money, like they own malls, they know how to screw people. But it did seem like they tried to work something out. And they had a legitimate problem with harassers in the company, and then used the underhanded tactics to eventually oust them when they'd had enough. Like, it's corporate justice.
Yeah.
And so like I don't love the people, but I think it's the best thing for the employees.
Yeah.
And I want to believe what some of the employees say. Like, we can make a good game, even though it's their world. They created it as kids. Yeah. Like it's their stuff.
Yeah.
They just have no business interacting with other human beings,
Yeah,
and the way they sold their creation. I mean, that's where I'm like, I don't think I feel sorry for them. That maybe it belongs to them, but like they sold it, and then they proceeded to be like absolute monsters. But I don't know. It's just people's word against each other. So I'm like, I don't like anybody except like the workers.
Yeah, I like the girl, and I like the dude. The ones that were on the ground, like just trying to make cool shit. They seemed like the only people I wanted to spend time with. But it's just so complicated because it's like that game is an aberration. It's like, whoa, what new level, right? Everybody wants to achieve what that game pulled off, and then all this bullshit underneath. It's just like, it is really worth your time to watch. It's really fascinating. And well done. I
mean, I can sort of empathize with that guy losing his childhood thing, but he did sell it. And if he's such a creative guy, just come up with some new shit. Like, I mean, it's fine that he wants to sue if he feels he wants to have his day in court and stuff, but I don't. Someone said, where does Corpo Bo land on this? Is like, he sold his IP. And then he, and that's. And you got into bed with business people that seem a little shady, honestly. Like, they have shady past. Like, it's time to invent some new shit and move on. Mm-hmm. But judging by how crappy people those creators seem to be, I'm just like, am I still allowed to like Disco Elysium? Like, where do I land on this?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to like a thing made by a bunch of disgusting, despicable people.
So are you suggesting... okay, I have two questions as the person who hasn't seen this. I didn't watch it because I was worried that it might spoil something from the story because I didn't know exactly what it was. And I was like,
it's pretty good about that. Nothing.
But now that you've said this, I realized, no, that's probably safe. Is it going to spoil my ability to play the video game when I know the behind the scenes?
There is a feeling of that, right? I will admit to this. It changed. it changed my motivation, not from like, it didn't make me go, I'm not playing this game now. It made me go, can I play the game and not think about this? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's am I going to be just sitting there thinking about this guy, these people, the conditions they made it the entire time I play the game? Because I do want to play the game.
Yeah.
It is also on my want to play list, but
So
I don't know.
there were a lot of worker interviews for people still working there, who consistently said that those people who created the IP did very little work. Like the work on Final Cut, for example, they were asked to come help and they basically did zero. The creators claim they did work, but there's a lot of workers saying no, they took a vacation and never came back. And
Yeah, they basically did like a
nothing.
90-day sabbatical and didn't tell anyone what their plans were.
Yeah. And that was kind of the case during development too, where they act like they talk and act like they do a lot of work, but really they just kind of act like emperors, and people bring their work to them. They're like, this is shit, do it again. And like they're trying to please these sort of very demanding artistes.
Yeah.
And they admire the creators because they are very creative and have like a unique vision. So like it's in the DNA of the game, and they are top billing on the credit. But I'm sort of thinking like a lot of like the best stuff especially the best stuff, like the voice acting, that's not the creators. That's the team of developers currently working on it. Right. And one of the developers used to be a friend of the creators when he was like a lot younger than them. He's kind of like a Judas in this case, or a betrayer, like whatever you want to call it. like he's like, I was really young and they played D&D sessions and I got to play with them and I always looked up and admired them. And then later when I got married, my wife was like, you follow those people, but they're kind of assholes. And then like he sort of, you break up with friends when you realize they're toxic for you. And it's like, that's why I'm still working at the company. They're not good for me. I still admire them, but they're not great people. So I think there's enough people working at the company that like it's still kind of okay to be like into this game, and whatever. It also makes me feel like whatever comes out next, we should sort of be receptive to, because maybe a lot of the talent is not the creators, but the team of developers they got working at the company. So we'll see.
Sure. And I do want to be clear. Like I think that like I don't necessarily agree with not playing something because you're like, oh, these people did a bad thing, so I can't enjoy something. Like everybody make their own decision on that. I'm not saying you can't, skip something for that reason. I'm not ever going to be that person. If I want to play a game, I'm going to play a game. I don't really care how it was made. I'm consuming it at a front level product. But sometimes when you do, when you meet the creator, all of a sudden it's not the character's voice you're hearing. You're seeing the person behind it bleeding through. That's what I'm curious if is going to have happened to me. Like when I hear, the police detective talk, am I going to be thinking of him as his own character, or am I going to be thinking of the people in this video? So that's that's where I get stuck, because sometimes it breaks that immersion for me, right? Like, we can all kind of agree that I don't get in the comments here, but we can all kind of agree Kevin Spacey did some shady shit, right?
Sure.
And
he's been acquitted of all of his charges, I think, though. I just read the other day.
just the Europe stuff. Just Europe
they had
stuff? I can't talk. Specific charges that happened in London or somewhere in the UK, and that stuff was dropped. I don't know the details though.
And so, again, play what you're comfortable with. Like if you hear that story and you go, well, now if I watch the movie 7, it's all I'm going to think about, I can never watch 7 again. That's fine. I just don't think there's any one answer for any single person that says it. My issue for me is if I'm getting immersed in, we'll say 7, and then all of a sudden Kevin Spacey shows up and all I can think about is all the stuff he did. Well, I'm not going to have the same experience that I would have if I didn't know that.
Right. It's distracting.
That makes sense.
And no, it's distracting. I agree. That's why I couldn't. It was hard I still haven't seen it. For all accounts, Baby Driver is one of the coolest movies ever made. Right, I've heard nothing but amazing things about Baby Driver.
Yeah, it's great. It's very
but that movie comes out right around the time he is in trouble for all the stuff he did, and he's the bad guy, or he's the main. I guess he's the antagonist in the movie, and I just couldn't do it. And it's not that I admire people who can, but I kind of wish I could just compartmentalize that stuff. It's hard for me because it just gets in the way.
I'm not chasing morality points or trying to, up my Paragon level so I can put more points into it or anything like that. I play games, I watch movies to be immersed in it, and if the outside stuff bleeds in too much, I'm not going to be immersed, so I'm not interested.
Yeah,
I think it's a good way to put it. I mean, and I don't think you got to judge yourself, Scott, for that. I think that,
I don't.
Like, I'm like rebuking myself because I can't be tough about like, oh, I can't watch movies with a sex offender in it. What's wrong with me? Like,
well,
whatever.
You know what helps in
not
his
into
case?
it, like it's okay.
What helps in his case is he's done a lot of stuff where he's kind of a slime bag douche in the movies. So I probably should see Baby Driver. He's a bad guy in that. I wouldn't have any trouble with 7 because if I was mad at him, it wouldn't distract me because I'd be like, yeah, you get what you deserve there at the end, buddy. Get out of here. You're dead. Like, he kind of plays a douche in a lot of things, and I'd probably get over it. But it's probably even an unrealistic standard that we hold any of these people to, and that includes behind-the-scenes people. So, Blizzard went through this. We've talked about that to death. It's the same kind of thing. I'm with John. It's just distracting. Like, distraction is all we're really talking about here, and that's unfortunate. Like, can I ever really sit down and watch Rick and Morty without thinking about that whole mess? Probably not.
To be clear, part of it for me too, guys, is the chat room's starting to get into the whole, like Rusty Nails is like Adolf Hitler build roads. Do we cancel his roads that he built or something? Like, that's like Twitter shit. Like, that's not really important. Like,
I'm sorry,
I don't like.
You mean X shit is what you mean? X.
Yeah, X. That's X shit. It's online. It's online shit. It's debate lord shit. Like, basically, like, no, of course not. Terrible people have written beautiful pieces of music and literature. Like, Alice in Wonderland is great, I guess, but that guy.
Yes, I like the I guess.
I don't know the history very well, but like, I think he was like a CP. He's a pedo. Like, I think, like, there's lots of great things. It's true, but when someone can actively profit, not only from me playing, but from me telling you, like, if a pedo is going to get a lot of pedo money for me telling you this is the best game in the universe, I don't want to do that. I'd rather that guy starve, even if I like the game. I don't care. Like, there's certain ethical lines where I'm like, I don't need to have integrity in this way, folks. Like, if you're a despicable, disgusting human being, which is why I didn't play the Russian BioShock game, because that money's literally being used to send rockets into apartment buildings of grandma's house. I have no problem with that ever. And like, that's where I'm watching this, where I'm like, that guy might still be, I guess he's completely cut out, which is great. But like, if some serial harasser that is a horrendous human being profits from our platform, not just mine, like ours, in telling people who listen, many people listen, to buy the game, I'm not some arbiter of art that needs to put art above my humanity. So yeah, sorry. And that's kind of why it was really important, I think, for me to eventually watch this. And I kind of think I'm leaning towards, like, they're good people probably working for the company. And maybe it's good that they have a cutthroat investor money guy. They're probably like that at Blizzard and at EA and at all the other companies too. So, and Nintendo, all that. So maybe he's just cut from that cloth, and that's okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I walked away not liking any of the main characters in that documentary. Just to put a final cap.
Yeah, the way I walked away from that, really liking, like you said, the workers to some degree, but liking the interviewer. I think that guy is really good at what he does. He just seemed like really thorough. It was like a lesson in journalism, especially games journalism. It was really good.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe, Scott. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. By the way, that channel is called People Make Games, and it's PMG for short. Just go sub to it on YouTube.
Yeah, go sub and watch, man. It was really good. I got another quick video to talk about too, real quick, just to say you guys were right. The Vampire Survivors video by No Clip was awesome. Yeah, I enjoyed learning all about Vampire Survivors and its history. Always fun to. From a Muppet. The Muppet was great, although it wasn't the highlight for me. It was cute that they did it.
It's a cute little thing, especially at the beginning when it's just being silly, but I think there's a lot of good stuff.
Could have been worse.
But it was fun to see, like, that he was like, it it wasn't his first trash game. He like made lots of trash game. Like that's it's his thing. It's like just like let me make like a bunch of different things. It was interesting.
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to recap it here. We talked a lot about it already, but it was really good. So I recommend it as well.
Check it out. That's
And
No Clip on YouTube.
And I'm gonna make one last little recommendation because it's also something I did this week. And I know Scott, I think, did too, but I went to go see Barbie, and it was great.
I saw it as well. Yeah.
Oh, you saw it too?
Yeah, I took my stepdaughter to go see it.
Oh, nice. It was very good.
I liked it because it was weird.
Yeah,
it's not really good.
Everybody wants to get wrapped up in all the politics, real or imagined, in it, and I have zero tolerance for it. I don't give a shit about any of that.
Mm-hmm.
What I cared about was that it got weird, and it did. And it needed to. I don't know how else you make a Barbie movie that's non-animated. Live action Barbie, this is the movie you make. You make anything else, I'm probably not interested.
I mean, there's a template for this kind of movie from like the 80s and 90s, right? Like,
yeah.
You make it about some nonsense. I'm trying to think of the movie, like maybe like Flipper or something like that. I don't know. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like there's a template for like, this is a product. Here is a storyline.
Came to life, and now it's my best friend.
Instead, I think very very surprised that Mattel agreed to it. To like address actual current day discussion and provide a perspective. I think to get the conversation going about a lot of these things, I think it was very astute. It's funny because it's the Barbie movies, but really. It's about the kid. Ryan Gosling was amazing.
Oh, he was so good.
Ryan Gosling was so good.
He's so ripped. Bo, he's your age. What's your excuse? Why are you not that
I know, man.
Wow, Scott, you really came after Bo with that one.
He's like, look at Ryan. Why can't you be like Ryan, you fat piece of shit?
Oh, wow.
It came out more harsh than I meant it.
Holy shit, Scott.
Way more harsh than I meant it.
Scott, I am Knuff.
You're Knuff, that's right. No spoilers.
But no, that movie was just it was well written. Like obviously if you want to learn more about women's studies and all that kind of stuff, there are places to go, but they created a movie that is a very popular, so a lot of eyeballs are going to see it, onboarding ramp to those kinds of conversations to people who might not like it. And I'm seeing a lot of like dudes that don't like it and they assume, and then the women are like, no, it's a good movie. You're just an idiot. Like that kind of thing. Like, yeah. And it just proves its own point too, because Transformers doesn't have to be well written for it to make $1 million, but the Barbie movie's got to be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it proved its own point just by existing. It was.
Look at Scott in there with his Ryan Gosling
thank
body.
you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, ripped like Gosling. I always call myself. It's also in some ways it's also just stupid. In other ways it's kind of really intelligent. In other ways it's like funny and then poignant.
Yeah, my favorite part was like when the construction workers are like, "Woo woo, nice ass," and then Barbie's like, "We don't have genitals," and then there's one guy in the corner who's like, "That's okay."
Yeah.
He was super down.
He's like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
that made me laugh so hard.
That guy was down regardless. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I was like,
It's fun, you guys. It's a fun movie. Don't get tied up in all the bullshit around it. It's stupid. It's a waste of time. All right, let's move on to our break. When we come back, we got Dear Martha. We got some other news to wrap up. We got some calls. Well, one call and one email. Lots of fun stuff around the corner. So you don't want to go too far. All right. Don't leave us. Just go pee and get drinks or whatever. We'll do the same. And we'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned. No, I didn't. There it is. Okay. Let me push this and then push that. And we're back, everyone. Welcome back. It is now time for us to play a little Dear Martha. And if you don't know what that is, well, then you haven't been around very long. It's a thing John put together, and we've got some a little bit of gamification going in the last few times. I'm really enjoying this. So, John, tell us what we're doing, and we'll go for it. What do you got here?
Today we are doing a game show version of Dear Martha. I'm going to read a review from Steam for a particular game. Review might apply to any of these games, but I picked it from one game in particular. I'm going to read the review. Now, this review actually does say the name of the game in it, so I have replaced anywhere where they say it with this game. So if you If you hear me say this game, this is just the title.
All right.
Erased. I'm then going to give you 4 options of the game that it was written for, and you are to guess which game it came from.
Excellent. Here goes.
My dearest Martha, in its current state, I won't be recommending this game. If it comes on a subscription service, maybe on consoles, it's worth a try, as the PC port is struggling for me. In my 8 hours of gameplay, I really enjoyed the visuals, but beyond them is something that could have used less is more. Less dialogue, more emergent gameplay sequences. Cutscenes are awkward AF. The English dub isn't great. I would say it's acceptable. The combat is so-so, with interesting upgrades, but something is lacking to make it super punchy. Platforming is doo-doo. Some puzzles were confusing. Some checkpoints were weird. I accidentally soft-locked myself by taking the equivalent of a key into a save room. Luckily, there are multiple saves, so good on that. Also sucks that shaders need to be downloaded upon starting the game. So you'd think you've updated only to have to wait for some more shaders. The silver lining for this game is the visuals and designs of the game and world. They're the best thing about the game. Yours in this life and the next, Cat on Ice.
Oh my gosh, Bo, do you have any idea what that is?
Well, let me give you your 4 options.
Oh, that's
here.
right. You're giving us 4 to choose. That's right.
And I took it easy on you. I think you can actually probably figure this one out from the options I've given. I think. We'll see.
All right.
Is it A, Genshin Impact? Is it B, Lost Ark? Is it C, VR Chat? Or is it D, Atomic Heart?
Save rooms. I'm going to say Atomic Heart because it's the only one that would have like rooms to save something in.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Because that's the part that
Getting
stuck out.
soft locked. Yeah, the other 2 games probably have suicide, but slash, you can kill yourself and respawn somewhere.
Yeah.
Although I could see it happening in Genshin Impact.
Yeah, but they don't have save rooms, right?
The only good thing about it is the graphics. I guess that applies to both Genshin and Atomic Heart.
Atomic Heart is pretty.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Atomic Heart as well.
Yeah, I think we agree.
Both going with Atomic Heart. Was this a review for Atomic Heart? Yes, it was.
Oh my gosh, we did it.
We got double winners today. Yeah, Genshin Impact is not even on Steam. VR Chat really isn't a game per se.
Yeah.
So this was really coming right down to Lost Ark and Atomic Heart, and I felt like you could probably figure out between them. I felt a little bad after the one where I said has bugs in it and listed all the Fallout games, so decided to take it a little easier on you this week.
I like this this twist. It's question. Fun. Yeah, I like it. I like a little gamification in the show. It's nice, Like this. Additional news. How about this? Assassin's Creed Mirage is 3 times shorter than Valhalla was. It's probably a good thing. That game was too long.
Probably good. Yeah.
They're saying 20 to 30 hours is what we're getting out of this new one.
That's a good length.
Yeah, for me, that feels like about what we got out of Origins. And Origins is, I know we disagree on a bunch of points with Origins, but Origins is maybe my favorite overall. And part of it is because that game isn't eternal. Like, I can see the end of the tunnel in that game.
Yeah, and that's my biggest complaint about Odyssey. Much as I love Odyssey, it's long.
It goes and goes and
kind of, it's so long and complicated that I think I beat it. I can't even really say for sure. I feel like I saw an ending. So I'm kind of with you. Like, again, to use a quote that I've never heard in my life, it's a good length.
There you go. You've never heard it in the right context anyway.
So I think this is right. I think they're making smart moves with Assassin's Creed Mirage.
I agree. I'm actually really looking forward to that one. So we'll see how it goes. Also, Nintendo Switch 2 already in the hands of developers. Select high-end developers have them. Yep, launching in 2024, according to a report, if it is to be believed. Let's see here. That would be about right. We've talked about this recently, but here's what is rumored. None of this is confirmed. That the new system would work in both docked and portable modes, similar to the Switch. The console may use, not will, but may use an LCD screen, not OLED, in an effort to manage costs. I think that'd be a mistake after doing an OLED version of the Switch.
Yeah, kind of like. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry,
It's rumor.
I don't want to. I don't want to grumble over rumors, but it seems weird to release a version of your console specifically to cater to something, and then the next version comes out and you do it again.
Yeah, it's weird. I agree. I don't know if I hold too much credit to that particular rumor, but it's also the system will supposedly support physical games through the cartridge slot and digital games. Duh. There's no supposedly. Of course it will. It'll do that.
What I want to hear is a rumor that says Nintendo figured out how the internet and accounts on the internet work.
Well, and they have. So previous reports say Nintendo, quote, will keep the same account system on its next console for ease of use. We'll see. Okay. We've been promised other things before and they've failed. And at that. So John is right to be skeptical, and I am as well. So we'll see. But this is, floating around. The main difference here between this and previous rumors is top-end devs, I guess, have behind the scenes admitted that they have dev kits. So we'll see. Brand new Switch. It needs to be significantly more powerful, in my opinion.
Powerful enough to run the store.
Yeah. Yeah. That slideshow.
That's the only
store.
thing they upgrade. I'll say that was worth it. I might buy it.
It's a step in the right direction for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Hasbro wants Transformers games on Game Pass, but they are lost on a hard drive somewhere. Literally, Bo, you found this story.
No, I didn't.
Oh, this is John. What the hell happened? I'd never heard this before. Is this why I can't play that rad shooter game they made a few years ago or whatever? It's just gone.
So yeah, they don't sell some of these games anymore because rights changed, and Hasbro now wants them to be released on as part of Game Pass, and they're hopeful that this will happen because it looks like the Microsoft acquisition of Activision is going to happen.
Yep.
So they're hopeful, but when asked where it's going to be, let me find the actual quote here. During an interview with Transformers World, the Hasbro team said, sadly, apparently Activision's not sure what hard drives they're on in the building. When a company eats a company that eats a company, things get lost, and that's very frustrating. Hope is, now that the deal is moving forward with Microsoft and Xbox, they'll go through all of the archives and every hard drive to find it all, because it's an easy Game Pass ad. We want those games back up for people to have a chance to play.
I agree.
Maybe Activision shouldn't lay off so many people. Why don't you, the esports guys say, you're now working in the game archives division. Let's go.
Yeah, right. The game we want though is, let's see, is it Fall of Cybertron? Is that the one I really like?
So
yeah, I can help them.
Oh, you
own two of these games. I can give it to them.
I installed today, inspired by this article, I installed Transformers War for Cybertron on Steam. I have it right now.
Is it War or
games,
Fall
man.
that is the best one? Which is the one that everyone loves?
They're both good. Same studio.
I heard they're both good. Yeah,
they're both good.
I'm
Both
starting with
even
War
play.
because it's the first one.
So can you play?
War is the first one, follows the next, but they're same studio, but both. I played them multiple times, both just as good. Yeah.
Oh,
great.
they're not. You can't buy them new, I don't think. Can you?
Yeah.
No, so I have them in my Steam locker because I bought them at the time, and Steam still honors your purchase, so I can still get it off the Steam server. Steam has it. Contact Gabe.
Yeah, call Gabe.
Downloaded it today.
This seems like spite. They're just like, no, we don't want to ask Gabe for help again. You know.
Oh man, I want to play this right now.
Do you own it?
I don't
On
own
Steam?
it. That's the problem. Is I don't
no.
own it. And I went to the
No?
I went to the Steam discussion board thing, and it has here's a link to the store, and I went there, and it just takes me to Steam.com now. It doesn't go anywhere. So
I wish
John,
I could somehow
share it.
send it to you.
I feel like we just set up a lot of listeners who are like, they just found out they can't buy this now, and they're like, but now I have to have it because
Yeah.
I've been told I can't have it.
Yeah, no,
I
there is
was so happy to find that I bought these games back in the day. I went through a phase. Now I'm in the phase where I like Transformers and I want to spend dumb amounts of money on Transformers for me, which is ridiculous, but that's where I'm at in life.
Sure.
I must be middle-aged now because it sounds like a crisis. And so, but apparently back in the day, I also went through a phase where I thought I liked Transformers without knowing anything about Transformers.
Yeah.
And I bought a bunch of games and a bunch of stuff without knowing anything about it. And I got both of these games as a result. So I've never been happier about a way in the past decision than that, because I'm going to play these games.
That's kind of crazy that Devastation's also not available.
Yeah, none of this is.
Because the whole license ran out, I guess.
I guess so. But Hasbro's saying we'd love to do it and kick it out again. So I don't know, Activision, you dicks, just sitting around sucking on your WoW money. We don't know what
hard drive it's on. There's so many hard drives.
And then Kodak's like, we're doing fine with Call of Duty. We don't need it in Transformers anymore.
Well, he's probably holding it for ransom. Like, we could look for it, but please give me $100 million or something. Like that.
I still say I don't think that guy's ever played a video game. I stand by it. Hasbro, we talked about that. Let's see. ESRB suggests there should be facial recognition on games to provide parental consent. Gets ass blasted in response by the internet and the world.
What a stupid idea.
It's a terrible idea. Don't do this, please. I think this is just part of AI excitement. It's just an extension of that. I don't think it's a serious
I got so angry when I read that. It's such a rage-inducing. Yes, it's part of that enthusiasm, but like, just the balls to say like, listen, we'll monitor your kids for you. Just take pictures of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They
like,
claim
for our database that will totally not sell or use for any other purpose.
They claim no data from the software is stored anywhere. So they're calling it estimation technology. It's supposed to estimate your age. It's all a little weird.
Sure.
I don't like it.
Sure. I don't listen. I don't believe any of that shit.
ESRB, you're like Oreos. You fulfill your purpose. Shut the hell up and just do your job.
Yeah.
Like, you're pitiful enough as it is. You basically exist to keep the government out. Shut up, rate your games, and stop trying to help. You're not doing anything.
And if you're in Europe, just keep saying Peggy 18 every time, and you're good.
Peggy 18 at literally every video game.
Yeah. Peggy 18. I love Peggy. I wish we had Peggy.
Also, like, it's just funny how things change too. You remember the Sierra games, like Leisure Suit Larry, you couldn't play unless you could answer an adult question.
Mm-hmm. I do.
And of course, my uncle gave me all the answers.
Of course he did. It's all bullcrap. It's like age verification on any.
Can't I take a picture of my parent? Like, I've got a phone or maybe some sort of kid camera. Take a picture of my parent, and then just show the picture of my parent on the camera and get past the age verification. Like,
yes and no. If it's a bad one, but all the phones and all these stuff, they do depth recognition now, so you can't fake it with a photo anymore. So you probably couldn't get away with that anymore.
Young Hannibal is in jail today after he cut off his dad's face in order to play the new Call of Duty.
I love a kid named Hannibal. That's good. Who would name their kid Hannibal? Somebody's really into Silence of the Lambs or something, I guess. Anyway, that's a thing, and
lame.
It's dumb.
ESRB, keep being lame.
Yeah, it's not happening. I don't think that's going to happen. All right, that's it for the rest of your news. It's time for a quick couple of correspondences.
That's a good question.
Get it? Again, thanks to Marzipan Z for coming up with that. We got emails and texts. Let's do this, actually a phone call first. And this is somebody claiming they understand why the show works so well for them and others. Let's see if you
solved it.
We'll see if they're right. Hold on. Here we go.
On the last episode, the bonus content, you guys were talking about talking time and how you guys work together and jump in. And Bo made a comment I think went a little bit underrated. It is kind of like jazz. You guys really fit together like a great trio, and it's awesome to hear you guys play together, for lack of a better term. So I don't think it's any one of you that drives it. I think it's all three of you together, and I think it's great, and love the show. Keep her going. Bye.
There you go. Jazz trio, because they're always improvising off each other. They got like a little bit of, I don't know how jazz works, but that's what he's saying.
Salty toast and basted eggs, orange juice on rye.
What is that?
Yeah, no, Bo solved it. He's
Them
got
jazz
it.
singing. Isn't that what jazz singers sing
Show
about?
numbers going up right now. Keep it going.
Wow.
He left out Shockwave though. Shockwave's a new. I think Shockwave should be there every week.
Shockwave should be there every
Make
week.
sure Shockwave's always here.
Shockwave's
No,
cool.
isn't that the Frasier song? And isn't it jazz? That you know.
He goes, some scrambled eggs and salty butts. What is it? How does it go?
Yeah, something like
Salty
that.
butts.
You see?
Frasier couldn't get enough of them salty butts.
Frasier song. Hold on, we're gonna hear it.
Toss
Here.
Toss
and
salads.
scrambled
Yeah.
eggs.
Toss salads and scrambled eggs. Here we go. I can hear the something calling. Okay. Oh, I have to turn off.
Isn't
the
that
YouTube
jazz?
version. I like Frasier. They're making a new one. You know,
What?
they're all coming back. They're doing
Why?
a 20 years later. What's up with our lives deal? The dad's dead.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. I don't know.
Well, I mean, why not? Every sitcom ever is doing
Yeah, I guess.
it. Yeah.
I don't necessarily like my initial reaction is to go, oh, you can't capture that again. You already blew it when Niles and Daphne like actually got together. That was a mistake. The whole point of that was the tension of them never getting together. And that you guys effed up your show, and that was like second to
Now
last
they're
season.
divorced, and so it's good or something.
Oh,
like that,
maybe.
right?
Yeah, I don't know. But I have been surprised by things before, so maybe this will be good. I don't know. I'm trying to withhold judgment until I see it.
They were really good in that episode of The Simpsons, Brother from Another Show.
That was
whatever
good.
The episode was called. I liked that one.
Didn't they do that on, or they, but it was also, oh, no, I'm mixing them up with the Cape Fear one, but that was also Kelsey Grammer. But yeah,
The
they were.
Cape Fear one is also very
Oh, that
good,
one's so
'cause
good.
That's the origins of the rake joke.
Yeah. We did it over and over again. That's a great one. All right, moving on to this email. A quick one from, let's see, this is from Gabe Newell. No, not Gabe Newell, just Gabe. talktothecourt@gmail.com is where he sent. He says, hey, I just wanted to add to your conversation about Super Mega Baseball. I agree that I agree with you that if you want a goofy arcade style baseball game, it's great for that. What slides under the radar, however, is that if you want a hardcore high level baseball sim, it is also perfect for that. The sliding scale difficulty called the Ego system was behind the scenes mojo, fitness and perk systems that have been this franchise's calling card since the first game. It also boasts solid physics engine, crimp up the mojo to over 60, and it becomes quite difficult. As long as you're okay with made-up players like Henry Hamster and Henry Longballow.
Who's not okay with Henry Longballow?
I'm
Although I
happy.
am sad he's not going to be the Witcher anymore.
No, that's a real bummer, right? Longballow left The Witcher for good. Cartoony graphics, Super Mega Baseball is one of the best baseball games for arcade or sim gameplay experiences. The PvP is also very fun. I can concur. I played some online matches. Very fun. Says it's been out a while, but I used to grind up to Legend every week back in the COVID days. I've always wanted to do a big tournament, but can't get any of my friends to play. But I'm never lonely when Olaf Slackoff takes the mound. Cheers, Gabe. Just to pile on, I love that. That game is great, and I think the fourth installment is good. I talked about it here on the show, reviewed it a little bit.
I want to tell a quick story about that because I forgot to do follow-up to this. So
All right, go.
you talked about Super Mega Baseball 4
Yep.
and that you got a code.
Yep.
And I did my usual joke that
Yeah.
I do when you talk about getting codes, which
Yep.
is, do they know that there are 3 people on the show? Now, normally you get codes through kind of an automated system. It's usually not somebody just emailing you going, hey, Scott, love core.
Yeah.
Here's a code.
It's a mix, but yes.
Don't
sometimes-
tell John and Bo. You get them from other sources. But in this case, we know who you got the code from.
Yeah.
And so I complained about it on the show
Yeah.
and went further and started complaining about EA potentially ruining the game. And so then after the show ended, I got a Discord message from someone who works at EA
Yeah.
who said, yes, I know there are 3 people on the show. I didn't know you wanted a code. I'll get you one.
I love how that resolved. I love it.
You just kind of have to laugh and go, huh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sure thing.
Do you feel a little bad about that though? You know,
No.
Not at all.
Like, look, EA got voted the worst company in the world for like 4 years straight. Like
well, you
their
can't use that
their
logic.
reputation.
Why do you
is
want their
well
codes?
known.
Yeah,
Why do you want their codes?
but they're-
Because I want to see how far they've climbed. They're not the worst company in the world anymore. That was like a long time ago that they were the worst
Yeah,
company in the
that's
world.
true.
They've really
They're on a
turned,
comeback streak.
like the
for
ship
sure.
isn't completely the other way, but they're turning it around.
They are. They
And
definitely
like
are.
Yeah.
they've got the ugly stepchild of Activision to point to and be like, hey, it could be worse. We could be them. And like they're always gonna look good by comparison there.
Yeah.
So, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like, look, I've worked every company I've worked for, I've known the problems with the company.
yeah.
You can work for a company and go, man, they effing up. Like, you know when you're on the inside.
Sure.
You don't have to immediately toe the company line and go, no, everything we do is perfect and wonderful, and I don't know why anybody would be bothered by any of it.
Yeah.
Like, and it was a pleasant story because I went, oh great, did EA ruin Super Mega Baseball? And then Scott told me about all the ways that they didn't.
They really didn't.
So
They supported it.
it
Made
was
it
a
good.
positive
Yeah.
EA story.
Yeah, to me, it was like Dead Space Remake. They really killed it. It was like in a good way. I don't mean killed it like in a bad way. I mean like they made good on the promise to the fans of that series that they weren't going to mess it up. And they not only didn't do that, they gave it greater infrastructure for the online parts, and otherwise gave them room to make another great Super Mega Baseball. So I like the direction those guys are going. I hope they keep going that way.
I've said worse unintentionally to developers. I'm pretty sure I've told the story that the day before they announced Battle for Azeroth, I told the Warcraft devs that the only thing I didn't want to see in the new expansion was Alliance versus Horde because I was so sick of it. And
Well, that turned out
that's
well.
probably the biggest foot and mouth. Like, I wasn't at the moment because they couldn't tell me, well, that's what we've based literally the entire next expansion on. But the next day I was like, wow, I bet that was awkward.
It's funny.
Good thing I'm not back in time.
It's funny you brought them up because the other day my brain just automatically went to this. I saw a tweet, or I'm sorry, a Zeet or X. I'm so sick of this Twitter
just
shit.
call them tweets.
Okay,
it's
tweet.
like the fourth Indiana Jones movie. If we pretend it didn't exist, we don't have to. We don't have to live in a world where it happened.
Have you seen the icon? Have you seen what it's called now on your phone? Did you update? If you didn't update, then you're good.
We're pushing closer and closer to uninstall. Like, we should all uninstall right now.
Look at that dumb thing. It's a big X
It's
and
called
an
X.
X underneath
It's not
it.
Twitter. Twitter is dead.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, I see this post, let's call it that, from Greg Street, or not from Greg Street, from Brian Holinka, who's talking about a flight delay. And my brain immediately went, I bet he's flying to see Greg Street and work on the game they're working on. Beep, boop, beep. I'm like, my brain just went in a million directions.
Uh-huh.
I'm so excited for whatever those
By the
two
way,
are doing.
I still have Twitter.
Yeah, look at that.
Don't
Bo's
have
still got
twatter.
Twitter.
Twatter will get you in trouble. No, that's good. It didn't force. I have auto updates, so I just did it. But I don't know.
I think it's because I'm in Canada, probably.
I mean, on my favorites bar in my web browser, it still says Twitter and TweetDeck. It's got an X next to it, but that's kind of how I feel about the site anyway. So, like, it just reflects.
I will say my brother-in-law who came up to the thing, he drove up his brand new Tesla model. It's the one with the big wing arms or wing doors when you open them.
I don't know. I don't know
That's
anything about Teslas.
That was a really nice car in there. I will say that. Like, it doesn't look, he's not there for the day-to-day anymore. Elon, I'm saying. He's too busy with this bullshit over here, which seems like a good thing for people if you want to keep liking Tesla. But that car was nice, really nice.
Like, all I'm going to say is this. We've got between 6 months to maybe a year and 6 months, and I think Twitter's back, and this is all behind us.
Oh, mark your words. Let's follow up on that.
Yeah, put it down as a prediction. I actually told my wife I would bring this up at some point so people could point back to it. There's going to be a point. Everybody's like, what's the new Twitter? Is it Threads? We're going to Threads? And like, no. Like, we are for a little while, sure. Here's what's going to happen. Here's a market. John prediction, tinfoil hat, whatever. In either 6 months or a year and 6 months, you'll note it's after we get through election cycles.
I did note that. Yeah.
Somebody who runs the company is no longer going to be interested in his new toy.
Yeah.
He's going to pass the torch or sell.
Yeah.
The new person's going to come in and going to go, well, let's make it the thing that everybody wants it to be. And they're going to do that. And everybody's going to come back.
It'll be called
no
Twitter
matter how
Classic.
no matter how much you go, but Threads finally added the thing that is still in Twitter that we don't like, and it doesn't work quite as well, but it's there now. Like, we're all just, until something genuinely replaces it, we're all just waiting for Twitter.
Oh,
And so
Threads has a following tab now. It means me and Zuck are good. So I'm ready to go.
That's my prediction. Twitter replaces Twitter, and it's gonna happen in at most a year and 6 months.
Okay, 18 months. Everybody, mark it on your calendar. John, if John is wrong by then, we'll hold you to account somehow.
Yeah, be like, John, where's Twitter?
Yeah, where is it now?
Like, I don't know. I guess it's still X.
We're not gonna remember.
Really miscalled that one.
We could
good on you guys for remembering something for 18 months.
We could Yakuza your finger off or whatever. That's when you know you're.
Oh, now the stakes are high.
Yeah. Do these games ever cut anyone's fingers off? I don't remember.
Yeah. There's some in Yakuza pretty early. There's some finger cutting.
I can't remember this one. Was there? I don't remember.
Ichiban. Spoilers for people in the chat.
Oh, right. No, I remember now.
Ichiban and Arakawa have a thing
Before he went to floor prison. Right? That's not a spoiler.
Floor prison?
Yeah, I call it that because they're always on the floor, on mattresses on the floor in that prison.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Japan. They don't have gigantic egotistical beds like we do.
That is true. When I went to Tokyo, I fit on nothing. I'm too tall for that whole country.
Like, why do you need so much wood and mattress for a bed? You can just do it this way.
All right. Where are we now? Oh, that's it. No mashup this week. Jamie's preparing the next one. He's cooking it. He's got it in the oven. So I'm going to use this time that we would normally use for the mashup to call out a few brand new patrons. When I say a few, it's a lot more than a few. I'm really
You guys are
really happy.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah, this is really great. And I know it's been a bit since our last episode, but still, we got Evan Meeker, William Ogilvie, Lord Ampersand, Jamie Van Haren. Oh, I loved that band in the 80s. James Lake, Bit O'Brien, Hugs, Morning Wood, but it's spelled like morning, like you're mourning sad.
Oh, yeah. We're mourning.
I'm mourning the wood.
That happens more often as you get older.
Yeah, you're just missing the days.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember when I woke up, primed and ready to go. Now I'm just mourning wood. Now
I just need to pee. Let's see. Jeff May, Georgie B. I like that name. Tom Pipes, Dustin Sherrill, Dylan Sainsbury, and Shaggy1247. These are brand new people who have joined us on our Patreon, and they get no commercials. They get host specials every month. I put mine up last week, by the way. Did I mention that? I don't know if I did.
It's my turn now.
Sure. Yeah, I think so. Or John's. I don't remember who's next.
I think I was going to do this month because I was going to be at FanFest and I was going to talk about it, but that didn't happen. So it can be either one of us.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But I'm the one I just put up is one about, the title is what is story in games for you? And I talk about how that can vary a lot between people, and when do mechanics get in the way of story? When does story get in the way of mechanics? That kind of stuff. Just a little, interesting thought piece, and I would love your take on it. But to hear it, you have to be a patron. So go sign up today. You can get all the old stuff too. You don't have to just start with whatever's new. You can get the entire archive. It'll be ad-free. You'll get pre-show content from this episode and every episode that we record, and a bunch of other stuff. So go check it out. That's over at patreon.com/core show, and be like these cool people. Okay.
Yeah. By the way, you should do another PSA just for the Core Daily. I saw you renamed it to More Core.
Oh, yeah, it's called More Core now because I realized I'm like, I have to leave for 4 days. I can't do one. Some days it's just impossible. Most days it's fine. But to put daily on there is a little misleading. So I went, I'm just changing it to More Core. So it's called More Core now. All right? You want more? Well, then we got more. Done.
Yep.
And that means if you miss a day, well, then it wasn't daily. It was called More Core. It just is more, right? More
I like
on
it
top.
more. I like it more because it rhymes too.
People were mad I didn't spell it with MOAR, like the internet meme kind of more. You know?
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Should I have done that, or is that dumb?
It's just these things sometimes don't age well. You know?
Yeah, we're maybe too old for that meme.
No, I don't think it's an age thing. I just think when you misspell things intentionally, sometimes
bite you in the
just looks dumb 2 years from now if we're still doing More Core. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No one talks about Flickr anymore. That place
also,
is
it's hard
dead.
to search when you misspell things.
That's true.
It's hard for search.
That's a really good point. We are SEO'd up the ass. So check it out. That's more core over on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, there's a guy from India contacted me by email. He's giving me all kinds of advice.
Yeah, he does. Anyway, that's the deal there. What else was I going to say? Oh, frogpants.com/core is our website. And you'll find links to everything there that you may ever need. Our phone number, our text line, our email, all of it. It's all right there. But now we got to hand the microphone over here to Grandma, who will catch us up on what we played this week on Core.
So distracted, Bo ended this episode just a banana went floating up. This is all of a sudden Bo had a banana. All right.
What's going on? You can't read fast, Grandma, without watching me eat a banana?
I just got distracted. It happens, you
Yeah.
know? Like, where'd the banana come from? I don't know.
Who knows?
Was it always there? Who knows?
Who knows?
All right, well, this show, you may have forgotten what the boys were playing, so I'm here to tell you about it. They call me Fast Grandma, but that's not 'cause I get around. Scott played ESO. That's the Elder Scrolls Online. He played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. That's Ratchet and Clank. It's a new one. He played Mega City Police. That was the indie-sounding game, and he got but didn't play The Expanse, a Telltale series. They sent it to him, despite the fact that there are 2 other people on this show. John played a little bit of Sea of Thieves, The Legend of Monkey Island.
Yeah.
He also continues to make people in WWE 2K23 because he has a god complex. And he played Remnant 2, which he really likes and thinks more of you should play. Bo played Yakuza Like a Dragon. He beat it. Finished it. He's doing in-game stuff. And then he told us what he watched, because that was all he played. And he watched a Disco Elysium documentary, Vampire Survivors, and then they all watched Barbie, but Bo's the only one who put it in his notes.
He's right. But we had a lot of
You
things
watch
to say
it, Grandma.
about
It was really good.
Yeah, it was
you
good.
like Barbies?
It was a lot of fun. I still need to see Oppenheimer, but I need to carve out 4 hours of my life. I'll figure it out. Anyway, that's what we did. That's how it is. We'll be back next time. And when I say next time, I mean Thursday. Yeah, that's right. Double dose this week, okay? Be ready for it. Hopefully there's enough content for us to make a show. Well, there will be. There always is. And that'll be this week.
Baldur's Gate 3 day, by the way.
Oh, shit. That's right. We'll have had some
I think
time.
we can still do a show. That game's going to take up a ton of hours.
Yeah.
You don't want to push so we can all play it?
We could do
I'm good
Friday.
with no-
We could do
I
Friday.
I'm good with pushing, but I'm also good with not pushing. Like, we have the game for a long time.
We'll talk off air. The
We'll
pushing.
talk about it. We'll figure it out.
The pushing
If
sounding
our
smart.
show isn't live on Thursday, it's
You'll
going
know
to be
why.
live on Friday.
Yeah, and get on the Discord, frogpants.com/Discord. These kind of places are where we announce changes and scheduling and all that. But you'll get another show this week is the point. And boy, are you excited. So go play your video games. Go have some fun. We'll see you next time right here on Core.
Get more at frogpants.com.
Good luck. Ichiban Kasuga.
You too.
Yeah.
Good luck.